that's recording. Go make
Let's
actually
just do a quick
yeah.
test.
I do have desktop audio, so that's okay.
Test.
I'm recording on that. Before I came online, I was trying to. I don't know what's happened, but like either stuff's updated or whatever since I've last turned my PC on.
Yeah.
Like nothing worked when I turned it on. Streamlabs wanted to update and then it updated and wasn't picking up my camera, it wasn't picking up my audio. And then it opened up Audacity, it wasn't picking up my audio. And then obviously I logged on and joined your the Discord and my camera wasn't working. So
Yeah.
that was fun. Standard.
But Audacity is definitely picking up the correct
Audacity. Yeah, I've tested
input
it.
device. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Right. Oh my god,
Right,
what's
indeed.
happened here? Is it, oh, right, how do I get rid of that? That button? Nope. Nope. Right, so the problem is here that I'm having right now is I've been using. I don't have Word on my laptop, but I do. But I do have, like, what do you call it? Office 365. So I've got Word online, and then when I unplug my laptop and just use the screen, most of the screen is taken up by like your layout and stuff like that, and I want that to fuck off so I can actually. Does that make sense? Like, look at this. I don't know if you can.
Doesn't Office 365 let you install the apps on
No.
on a number of devices anyway?
No,
Are you
it doesn't.
sure?
Well, I tried to, and it says I don't have that version of it. Look how much screen is getting used up by not the words.
Yeah.
There must
Yeah.
be a way to fix that. I guess I can just muddle on. Yeah, because I think there is a version, but I get this free from Annie's dad, and he obviously doesn't pay for the one that lets me download the apps because I did fuck about with it for a while. Unless I'm just being an arse. I mean, there is every chance. Oh,
You want to go
this.
to like, well, yeah, just log into 365 online and then see if it's in there to install.
I can read like a.
If you can access it online, you should be able to install it. I swear that's how it works.
What if I right click this? View. Reading view. Oh, that's fucking good enough. Right, okay. Are we ready?
Yes.
3,
3,
2,
2,
1.
1.
Well, it's been a long road getting from there to here, but here indeed we are, back in your manky black ear host to bring you the next episode of the Less Than Award-winning Winners You podcast. As usual, for new listeners, we are your friendly neighborhood game book club podcast, lathering ourselves in lubricant to take deep dives into a new game, at least in most episodes at this point. This week, we're talking all things Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, the poor soul that Ubisoft forgot after Assassin's Creed came along. Well, forgot no more, ladies and gentlemen. This is the first of 2 Prince of Persia games being released in 2024, and I've written here, and is it a video game? Oh, and is it a video game? There should be an exclamation mark.
Oh, is it?
Not a full stop at the end of that. There we go. As ever. Welcome back, folks. It's been a while. I am David, and sitting 1,989 miles across from me is Alex. How's it going today, pal? You all good?
I'm all good. That's got to be when the first Prince of Persia came out, I assume.
It was, yes.
Jordan.
Oh, you're ahead of me because I've got his
French
book.
surname.
Yeah, that's something like that. I've got his book saved on a shopping list on Amazon because he wrote a book about the development of Prince of Persia. Because it was basically like him and not many other people, wasn't it?
It was his brother, right? Who told us that? Did you tell me?
I think I told you that last week. Yeah, his brother is basically the.
That is fantastic. But yes, I am well. I saw today you streamed on Twitch a game called Humanity that I don't think I know what that is. What is that? Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, I flicked it on and I saw that and thought, "What the hell is this?"
Something like that.
Yes. I see. Oh, certainly Homer Simpson's biggest desire, wasn't it? When "You're the tallest man in the world now. You
Yeah.
made out of solid gold. 14 karat gold."
Yeah,
So,
so
yeah, I guess they know.
I had a great time with it for my lunch break today, and I probably won't ever
Excellent.
play it again. Like,
Uh,
I did the intro and I did like World 1. So I did like, I think World 1 had 8 missions in it, and the intro was like 3 or 4. And I did that, and then
right.
I was like, right, I see what this game is. I've had fun with it. Don't think I want to carry on.
Knockout City style.
Yeah, like I'm not, I have no animosity towards the poor old game. I just have had my fill of it. But what I like about that game is as I like sort of like working out the puzzle, if that makes sense. So I like sitting thinking,
Mhm.
right, what does it want me to do? How do I get these dudes to the end and collect the bits? The thing I sort of start losing interest is it starts making you want like you've got to like send some people some direction and then quickly change direction and then quickly change direction again. You've got to start like cranking about with the different direction tools rather than just sort of figuring out the puzzle. And that's when I sort of lose interest in it, if that makes sense. I just want it to be a
Weren't
straightforward
getting,
puzzle game.
weren't getting PTSD flashbacks from that Ratchet and Clank shit, were you?
What's the Ratchet and Clank shit? You have to remind me of that one.
Remember in the most recent Ratchet and Clank game we played for the pod, where you had the Clank things, where you had all those little Clank robots, and you had to make them
No,
sort of
that was
get
obviously
to the
so
end of an
awful.
obstacle course.
That was obviously so awful. I've PTSD'd out of my mind. Am I going to be
You
like,
hated it. You definitely hated it.
yeah? Am I going to be like
Yeah.
65 and then go to like counseling or something? And they're just going to scratch loose some deep-seated
Yeah.
memory of Ratchet and Clank in my 30s.
They finally get to the bottom of it.
Yeah, I'll just start screaming in the counseling sofa or whatever they do.
Yeah, and then the cats will just be playing it like, "It's really not that bad." The cat will be Rob, because I think Rob likes that. Rob, Kirkup, he likes that game.
Yeah,
We
okay.
can't all be right all the time.
No.
Like we were not right about Dino Crisis 2, because I played that because 'cause I'm so fucking
But
excited
I
for
have
Summer
played
of
a
Red
bit of
Dead.
Dino Crisis, right? Did I not play a little bit
Yeah,
of
you
it?
did. You started it, and then I watched it. I was just like, "Oh, that's a bit
It's just not.
entirely different from the original."
Do you think there was a bit of what is it? Is this the right expression? Something after the Lord Mayor show? Like you were so
Yeah.
Dino Crisis was so good, and it was such a particular type of game. Then you turn on Dino Crisis 2, and you're like, ew, what is this?
Yeah, a bit snobby about it, like, "Oh,
Yeah,
this isn't Resi with dinosaurs. This is its entirely own thing.
it's like
We
an
don't want
arcade
anything
shootery.
original.
Yeah,
Fuck off." Yeah,
I can see where
um,
like they're sticking in 50p to have another go again. That makes sense
exactly.
with it.
Because you get points, don't you, for, like, combos of how many dinosaurs you kill and stuff, but you use those points to buy, like, weapon upgrades and stuff,
Mm.
so it's actually it's really good.
If you
It's
come at
really
it on
good
its
fun.
own terms, it's decent.
Yeah, absolutely. And then because I'm still desperate for Resident Evil season to start, I've been playing Onimusha 2, and I can't beat the final boss. He's fucking impossible.
Oh, is he? Well,
And I
I've got
think
a memory of the
I've probably
Onimusha
stuck
boss
in a
being
hole.
tough in the first one, right? Or did I make that up?
Yeah, you're probably right, actually. Is it Nobunaga in the first one as well as the second one?
Pass, man. Pass.
Because I remember getting my ass whooped by Nobunaga. Like Googled it, and it was like, oh yeah, yeah, his second stage is really tough. And then I realized I'm not on the second stage. I never got to the second stage, so I don't think I'm ever going to do that.
Well,
That's done.
as we will find
That
out
is
during this
done.
podcast, you're
What a
not the only
shame.
man that's had a nightmare with bosses
Good point.
over the
Good. I
last
warned
week.
you. I warned you.
Oh my god. I may need to rethink this. I think I said at the end of the last pod that the most difficult boss I'd ever beaten in a game was probably the yellow demon in Mega Man. This maybe some of these guys might be worse.
Yeah, I think Menelaus laughed in the face of the yellow devil, or whatever it is.
He just had me absolutely beaten for days.
It's
Days.
just so fast paced.
Yeah.
Everything is so twitchy in that fight, because
Yeah.
he's just rolling and jumping and sliding and firing arrows from all over the fucking place.
You just don't get
Oh, good
you
God.
don't get a chance to settle, do you?
I don't think I ever really fully got down the rhythm of the fight. I think I was just spamming dodges and things like that to just hope and pray that I could get through it, and then spamming the healing move and yeah,
I tried because
savage.
you had mentioned that in a text. I was like, oh, maybe I should start using this healing move, and I just felt like I'd sort of activated and then just got punched off it instantly.
That did happen to me a lot as well. Like, after I told you that, I thought he's going to get punched away from it, and he's going to think I'm talking shit. Um, there was one of those powers the where you could it basically just like it sort of makes you go like invincible kind of, doesn't it? And you do like
Mm,
all your moves do extra power. I usually equipped that one for boss fights
mm,
after I
smart.
unlocked it. That made them quite a bit easier. But
Yeah.
yeah, none of them towards the end of that game piss about in any way.
No.
It is brutal.
None of them bullied me the same as Menelaus, but I wonder if just like Menelaus was such a harrowing baptism of fire that I was just ready for it. The next one, so sort of,
Yeah.
it was just
But you had problems with the fat lad, right? Or the big lad anyway.
yeah. I had a few
Was it?
problems with him, and then I don't know. He
I
just
can't.
ate shit all of a sudden. Like he was caking my ass, and I was just like, "This is worse." And then all of a sudden, he was just dead. Like in a moment, I was like, "I can't handle this guy." Then boom, dead.
Oh right.
Kind of just like, I think I just got lucky. Like if I had died that time that I killed him, I might
Yeah.
still be
Oh
doing that
yeah.
boss.
This pod may not ever have come out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's. Well, I guess we'll talk about it whenever you've got it ready to talk about.
Yeah.
But yes, the bosses in this game, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, they ain't chill. They
Have
have
you
no
knocked
chill.
your headset at all? You've gone really quiet all of a sudden. I don't know where I'm hearing
No.
you from.
Should be from the Yeti.
It's not that I can just turn you up. It's not a big deal. It's just in case because you went quiet, so it's just in case it was happening on your recording.
No, my recordings.
Okay.
Input device
I'll
Yeti.
just turn you up. It's all good.
No. Yeah, something. Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Okay. Well, we dive in, Alex. It's time to go.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
I'll give you a tiny little blurb, and then we can do the general thoughts in the game. So, Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown is an original story set in the Prince of Persia universe. The time powers from the Sands of Time series are featured in The Lost Crown, though they are used by the game's antagonist rather than Sargon. The Lost Crown is the first major release of the Prince of Persia series since Prince of Persia: The Forgotten Sands in 2010. On the seventh, well, it's called the seventh. So this Wikipedia said the seventh generation of platforms, but I wish I had deleted that because I deleted other stuff from this. I don't like that. But anyway, Sargon was described by the team as a gifted young warrior who is acrobatic, fast, and agile. With Sargon, the team hoped to modernize the image of the franchise. According to the art director Jean-Christophe Alessandre, the team wanted to introduce some fresh visual design for the franchise, taking references from modern culture, urban culture, and fashion. One, I've never dressed like him. I've never dressed like Sargon. I can't think, even on a night
He
out,
just looked.
I've not done that.
Yeah, I don't really know how he seemed to fit the era quite okay as well. He looked
Yeah.
like he could be in any of the Prince of Persia games. I don't know how they've modernized that.
Maybe I had a bit of a cool
That
dude
sounds
haircut.
like utter PR horseshit.
Yeah, maybe.
We've
Alex,
urbanized it, lads.
he's gone urban. Does that just mean they made him black? Is that what they've done?
I think that's what they're trying to dance
Oh my
around. Yeah.
God. Okay. Anyway, Alex, give me some general thoughts on your games. What's your sort of takeaway feelings of the Prince of Persia?
I think this is the best Prince of Persia game that's ever been made. I've just said it. There it is. It's out
I
there.
think I agree with you. There's very good ones, but I think this is the best one. I think so.
I do love Sands of Time, but
Maybe,
this is just more my kind of thing nowadays. I don't know if I'd want to play. Oh well, I don't know.
oh, you're back.
I
Sorry.
don't know.
I think it's my computer. It keeps turning itself down. I don't know if there's a bit of dust on my volume button or something. But I just caught it doing it
Heavy
there.
dust.
Yeah, like I turned it up and it just started going down again. Right, hopefully
You
it
may have some
stopped.
sort of auto adjust shit going on.
Yeah.
Something's
I'm
taking
wondering
control.
if I'm knocking the
If things have all updated without you
fucking
expecting them to,
PCs, man. Anyway, yes.
something's gone fucky.
I think I would agree with you. It's the best Prince of Persia game they've done. And it's one of my favorite Metroidvanias, I think, as well.
Absolutely. The focus that they had on movement using your powers for movement and puzzle solving, and the way that they kept making more and more areas with different ways for you to
Mhm.
utilize those powers. That mostly looked beautiful as well. This game is, yeah, it had some real creativity about it that not enough Metroidvania games have had
Yeah,
since they sort of made a comeback as a genre.
I agree. I agree. Yeah, it just it. Sorry, my volume did it again. I've got it open now so I can see if it happens again. So I'll catch it right
Okay.
away. Yeah. Yeah, it just flows really well. It handles really well. I think for me, the more that we've played of these Metroidvania games, the more I've sort of come to realize that you just, and this is probably a really obvious thing to people, maybe people in general, but certainly people that have played a lot of these games, like they've just really got to nail that sort of basic gameplay loop. Like, forget when you start adding on powers and things like that. It's just got to be fun to move around the world, and
Yeah.
yeah, they've nailed that. And then later on top of that, it's just a game that does not fuck about, and for the most part, it's a game that doesn't fuck about in an extremely satisfying way. Like,
Hmm.
it's fun to encounter enemies, and I think even the basic enemies that you encounter around the world are generally quite entertaining to fight if you can be bothered interacting with them.
No one's really that much of a slouch. Like,
No.
even the earlier areas towards the end of the game, you have to be careful with what you're doing, and you have to have a handle on the combat, which I think has just the right amount of upgrades and sort of customization to it
Mhm.
in terms of the way that you choose to have a fight, but without becoming too overwhelming. I think they kept everything nice and straightforward with a certain like a small set of things that will improve as time goes on. Some things you don't even need to use, like that whole throw in the chakram. Don't necessarily need to use
I didn't
that.
use it very much. It's one of these things, like, I don't know, do you do this and get like, actually no, I think you're probably better than me in games like this in that you really play with the breadth. Yeah, if we're talking about it in like review scores,
Oh, it's just,
you use the whole
yeah.
range, whereas I settle into
Like,
something
it's
where
like an obsessive, like, I have to do everything this game expects me to do. It's giving me all these tools. I have to use every single one of them because I'm doing it wrong otherwise. Whereas you're more chill about those kind of things, and you
I think
settle into a play style that you're happy with, and you'll just soldier on with what you're comfortable with. Whereas I'm always trying to do everything that it asks of me and then overcomplicating it.
but then also I think that's partly why I perhaps struggled with some of the bosses in this game,
Mhm.
because each boss has there's not there, and most of them there's not an easy way to beat the boss, but there is a sort of tactic that you can employ. Whereas I would be dogmatically sticking to the what works for me,
Yeah.
and I think often that would hold me back. Whereas like, yeah, I think if you like, and it's one thing I wish I was. It got to like three quarters of the way through this game, and I was like, I know I'm going to speak to Alex, and I should be messing about with these things. But I basically picked my medallions and just did not switch at any
I
point.
only switched for bosses again. So
Smart.
I always turned on the one that allowed you to, to get revived after you die.
Mm,
And if I knew what the boss was after I'd figured out like they all had the elemental if I'm in the area that's kind of icy,
yeah.
oh, I've just got a medallion that doesn't have, that takes off some frost damage. The boss is probably going to try and do some frost damage. I'll probably wear that. Or I'd lose a few times at the boss and then tweak them and then go back again and feel like it was, that I'd equipped myself better, sort of Witcher style.
We were. I don't know. I don't know. Again, maybe this just hit me at the right moment at the right time. But when you were talking about like knowing the bosses and stuff like that, it reminded me of that level that you're going through, or sort of level, that area of the map that you're going through that is like frozen mid explosion, so you can like run across the water
The
and you're
Raging Sea,
yeah, that was
incredible.
incredible. Like, that was stunning to look at. It was just
It
fun to
really was
traverse.
mind blowing.
It was just unbelievable, that section. That is
Yeah, so clever.
probably more than anything else, it has really stuck with me more than the others.
Yeah, me too. The only thing that I wanted to happen was that it all unfroze at one point, and
Yes.
then everything just like fucking splashes on you. But obviously it
I mean, you
didn't do
go
that.
to a
Didn't
different
really need
part and
to.
it does unfreeze, because I did notice that I went from walking on the water to falling
Yes.
into the water. I was like,
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. I guess some of it does. Yeah, it does. Because then the lightning starts to strike, and then that's when you're jumping around on those
yeah,
jellyfish and stuff, isn't it? But
yeah.
yeah, that's definitely the standout area of the game. It's such a cool idea.
And Another thing it did is I liked again, we might come to it later on, but the other thing that the game did that I quite enjoyed is like hiding puzzles in plain sight. So there's a lot of times that you would like, I know this is something, but I don't know whether I can interact with it. I don't know whether I can interact with it or not, and I don't know whether or what I need to do, if that makes sense. And then, like, obviously, like,
Yeah.
as you discover different powers as you progress, you'd sort of figure things out as you went, and then you'd come across something, or find even like a tiny little doorway. Quite often, I would buy a treasure map from that little girl in the sort of hub area,
Yeah.
and I'd be like, "Oh, there's a treasure over there." I'd go looking for it, and I just couldn't find my way in. Then you'd see a little crack, or you'd like just figure out this little door that I had totally missed that you could slide under. I just thought that sort of stuff was really fun. Fuck those chests that eat you, by the way. Absolute
I think I only ever saw
cigarettes.
one of those.
I think I encountered two or three. Two, I think definitely two, perhaps more than that.
Yeah, but mimics are never good. They're dickheads in Dark Souls.
Yeah,
They're dickheads in this.
they are.
Yeah, because they're always super powerful as well. Like
mm,
they're not just a normal enemy and then there for a quick shock,
no,
jump scare. No, they are also really like bastard hard on top of it.
the what was the way to say it? Yeah, it goes back to a text you yesterday said I'd finished and I just couldn't be asked continuing. Last night
Yeah.
when you were otherwise engaged, I was like, I don't know what to do with myself tonight, and so I just ended up putting the game back on and just running about for it. Spent the whole night just running around mopping up
Oh, did
challenges.
you?
And yeah, I went and started doing some of the harder challenge areas that I had either gone away from or missed along the way. So like some of the like jumping puzzles that I hadn't quite collected and things like that. I really enjoyed doing those.
There was an area, and I think it was somewhere near the pirate area. Um, well, for starters, I checked afterwards. I did not have that parrot thing that you had. That's really annoying.
I
I
wonder
don't know
if I had a
why.
version of the game.
Did you get a digital version?
Yeah, I had a digital
You got Steam,
version.
didn't you?
Yeah,
Hmm.
it wasn't. So it was a medallion that you could equip, but
Yeah, I saw you equip it when you were playing it. I was like, I definitely don't have that.
it didn't take up a spot either.
Yeah, that's super annoying.
I wonder if I had a because I mean, maybe I've just cheated, but also it was really helpful. It would tell you where like hidden walls and stuff were.
Yeah, like that. It's like that little mate in Tropical Freeze, isn't it?
Yeah,
The little
exactly
parrot
like
mate.
that. Yeah, yeah, he was really useful.
But yeah, somewhere near that there was like a big wooden board. It's basically a room and it had a wooden board and it had like looked like a game of noughts and crosses on it.
Yes, yes, yes,
What's is
yes.
that a puzzle?
Yeah, so there's a game in there. So so do you find the board where if you jumped in front of it, the big black blocks came slamming down?
Oh
So
yeah.
like
I did. I didn't know what that
yeah,
was.
so like two screens to the right, which is the thing I think you're talking about. That's the solution. So you go and you make that solution, and that was
Damn it.
actually a fun one to do because it's like top right, right across the middle, and then right in the middle bottom. So you've got to like jump at the top. You've got to start off by jumping at the middle bottom and doing your little LB that makes you zap to an area.
An amazing
Jump to the
power up that
top,
is.
drop down, dash, and then at the end of it, push your LB to like zap there, set that one off, and then get out of the way. And that
Yeah.
gives you your little thing.
Yeah, once you've got the double jump plus the air dash plus the LB where you
So
sort
fun
of
traversing. Just
leave
traversing is
yourself in
fun.
time and it's just like some of the stuff they made you do to did you go and do that like the full on hardest puzzle room in the game where it's like all these like spike so I don't know what they are like, but
Spike
those wheels
coffin
on like
ones.
spikes.
Oh, the wheels. Oh, is that the one where they're coming out? You've got to dodge them.
Yeah, and you just
Yeah.
got to keep going and
Holy
going and
shit.
going until
That
you
was
do it,
hard.
and you get a fucking cosmetic.
Yeah.
Which I made damn sure I bloody well wear for the rest of the game in case
I
anyone
wore.
sees me
I
playing,
had.
because I want people to know I've done this shit, 'cause I nearly gave up.
I had like an old. I had like an old Assassin's Creed one.
Yes,
That's the one I wore for most of the time.
Prince of Persia one, yeah.
Yeah.
The Sands of Time one,
Yeah, I had
yeah.
like his floppy hair.
What's weird is that, what's the main guy's just
Sargon.
behind the curtain here, everybody listening. That I finished this a few weeks ago, and as I think I put on our Twitter, David had a whole bunch of stuff in real life to do. So he's just finished it more recently. So if I sound forgetful, it's because I've played. Well, you heard I just played a bunch of Resi clones for the last week or so. What's the main bad guy's name? Who's also a little boy?
Varum.
Yeah, him. The first time you see him, that clip is replayed later on in the game, isn't it? I think obviously when you fight him, you see that version of yourself from earlier in the game, don't you? And then he gets battered.
Yeah.
That guy was wearing I had the Sands of Time skin on at that point the first time around. But I changed skins after.
Clever.
He still had my skin from when I first was there. That was fucking awesome.
That is
really
cool.
Clever.
I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, and it made it look even better because it's like the Sands of Time guys getting beaten up while Sargon's helping him.
Oh, fun.
It actually made sense.
Smart. That is that is a cool little touch that I bet you most people wouldn't get.
Yeah.
I wonder why that.
Certainly a cooler touch than when they reveal that basically all the other Sargons in the game are his personality traits.
Yeah.
Oh, that was your anger, and that was your anxiety. Oh, fuck off.
Yeah, because they were doing a whole thing where you started having to fight yourself, and I was like, "Oh, this is cool." You're obviously going to and because they've been playing with time, I was like, "You're going to start there's versions of you that becomes this." No, you're just fighting yourself. Yeah, I hope that was this is all your... What I would like to know if Hassan was to stumble in on you when you were doing this, it was proper Fight Club where you're just punching yourself in the face.
I would have loved that as well. Yeah. Mate, what are you doing?
What is happening here? We have enough problems going on without you.
He's skipping around the room all by himself doing nothing. Going, ow! You're right, mate.
Well, wait.
Even the birds looking at him like, bro.
Since we're on that, will we quickly run through my garbled synopsis of the story so that we can sort of
because it's the weakest part, so let's get it out of the way.
Say we've covered it and then move on with our lives. So, right, here we go, Alex. The story, feel free to interject at any moment because I do realise these bits are a lot of me speaking.
Oh yeah, I bet you this sounds better when you read this out than it felt in the game when I was actually playing the game because it felt very cliche, time travel cliche nonsense.
It was. I had to actually go back and edit my synopsis because I was like, this doesn't even make any sense what I've written here. So this is the revised version. So if this is rubbish and it doesn't make any sense, then just know that this is the best version you're getting. The story.
No refunds.
Yeah. The story introduces Sargon, who is a young member of a clan named the Immortals. That is, let's start with that. That is arrogant, calling yourself the Immortals when you're not actually immortals. Yeah,
we kind of prove that none of them are.
Kind of like calling yourself, I don't know, the cool kids. And if you're calling yourself that, you're not a cool kid, right? Anyway, at the beginning of the story, the Persian Empire is on the brink of collapse after an invasion from the Kushan Empire. As your tutorial mission, Sargon and the Immortals repel an attack from the Persian territory, and Sargon personally kills the general during the attack. As the victory celebrations are ongoing, Prince Hassan, the heir to the Persian throne, is kidnapped by Sargon's mentor and leader Anahita, who then whisks Hassan away to the sacred Mount of Kaf. Upon arriving, you chase him to Kaf. Upon arriving, it quickly becomes apparent that not all is as it seems, and that a curse has apparently befallen the mountain. As Sargon runs into enemies along the route, many of them appear to have been at the mountain for decades, despite having apparently only recently arrived. It also becomes apparent that Sargon and his clan are trapped in Kaf due to a time anomaly. So, of course, they decide the best thing to do is split up and go looking for Hassan on their own. During his search, Sargon begins to find these feathers, which, when collected, grant him time powers, aka a portion of a god's powers, which is let me skim down here. The god that is being killed is called Simurg.
Oh yeah, there's like a big eagle bird thing. Yeah.
Upon finding Hassan and Anita during your searches, during an attempted rescue, Sargon's apparent friend Varum intervenes and kills the prince, revealing that he is seeking the power of a god. After a short fight, Sargon loses and is plunged into the depths of Kaf, where he meets an old man and begins a quest to collect as many of the powers as he can to rectify the time anomaly and become strong enough to defeat Varum. During the mission, he encounters an old man who teaches him some of the secrets of the mountain and suggests that Prince Hassan can in fact be saved. Sargon then collects enough time/god powers that he's able to solve the time anomaly and send himself back in time to save Hassan. During the fight, Hassan is saved, but Anahita sacrifices herself to save Hassan, I think it is. After this, it is revealed that Varum is actually the long-lost son of King Darius, who was murdered and usurped by the current queen and mother of Hassan, Queen Thomaris. And she in fact did this without Simurgh's blessing, causing the 30 years of decline that led to the invasion of the Kushan Empire. To stop this, Varum is seeking the heart of the Simurgh so that he can then merge with it and take the Simurgh's full power and reclaim, I don't know, the power of the gods, the power of time, and the throne, I assume.
Yeah, just a bit of everything.
Yeah, unable to stop him, Sargon and Varum have unable to stop him. Varum manages to sort of merge and become the first ever immortal. After a protracted battle, Varum is eventually defeated, and that is a big old fight. And Varum comes to, during the fight, Varum comes to learn the folly of trying to harness the power of a god and sacrifices himself to revive Simurgh, which is the god of the mountain. With the anomaly solved, the Simurgh returned and the prince saved. Sargon and Hassan returned home. However, now knowing the truth about his mother, Hassan abdicates his position and Sargon reveals the treachery of the queen to the entire royal court.
And everyone just buys it and it's like, this guy's probably telling the truth.
Yeah. As Sargon rides off into the sunset, it's revealed that the younger version of Varum has been freed from the mountain, and the remainder of the clan, who are still alive, vow to keep him safe. And that's the story in a nutshell. It's not very good. It's enough to sort of, I don't know, propel you through. Like it sort of justifies the reasoning for everything.
Yeah.
Which is all you really want a story to do in this kind of game, right?
I think the biggest problem with it is I don't really like anyone in it.
Yeah.
I don't like any
I like
of the
design of the
characters.
characters within the world. So like as much as I don't like Orod, his sort of design in fitting with that sea area is absolutely fantastic, I think.
He I like the art style, so visually I don't have any issues with it, but I just thought the voice acting was quite weak throughout.
Yeah, I'd agree.
And the problem is it tried to throw in certain things that we're supposed to care about too many times that weren't our character that we're controlling.
Yeah.
So we're supposed to care about Hassan, who's the Prince of Persia that we see at the beginning, and then hours later,
he doesn't even do anything really either. And I think that's a problem with sort of these types of games, in that like movies and like TV shows, you've got time, books, you've got time to breathe, but like movies and games like this in this way, you don't really have any interaction with Hassan. He's just this sort of...
There's no bond built between the two characters.
He's this Princess Peach that gets attacked and gets taken to another castle, and you're supposed to care because the game tells you to care.
Yeah,
and I think that's
our job to care.
Yeah, exactly, and that's a weak narrative starting point.
Completely agree. Yeah. So I never really understood what the point of me caring about getting him back was, and the whole thing about Varum, his dad getting offed by his wife, like was just it came at such a pivotal moment of the story, but as almost like it was just injected into it out of absolutely nowhere.
It was meant to be a big reveal, wasn't it? And it was just like,
it's like, okay, right. So his mum's a bit shit, but then and then at the end he just goes back. He's like, Mum, you're a bit of a knob. I think I'm out. And then Sargon's like, this woman sucks, and everyone's like, you're probably right, she does. Whatever that guy said, let's do that. Let's just do that. And boo queen. So these games don't need a story to be enjoyable. I don't need a motivation to finish it based off of a narrative, because the motivation is the world and the map and the secrets and the powers and the fun.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
always has been. That's why Metroid never had a story. It was like, check it out. You're lost on a planet. Get off the planet. Oh, what's that thing? It's a Metroid. Go do stuff. Oh, it's a woman." And then it ended.
Yeah.
And then the franchise was born. So yeah, that was yeah, quite weird. But like I said, I wasn't a fan of the voice acting of anybody really. It all felt very generic, very stale, very like no one had real personality. Even the ones that they tried to build up as being but like Orod with his big, he's a big larger than life guy, and oh look at his big moustache and he's hench as fuck. But didn't have anything to him. And the one who dies as well, the one who steals the prince and who turns out to be the good guy, and then she gets killed. Again, did not shed many a tear for her
No.
because her redemption arc was like 20, 30 seconds, then bang, dead. Oh, now I care because I just learned recently that she was actually good. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care.
No. No, I totally agree with you. The draw of these games is the making an interesting world that you want to explore and making the gameplay look fun enough that you want to see what you can add on and get around the different areas. I know you didn't get on with it very well, but the two games that this makes me want to go and play is Ori and the Blind Forest, because what I've played of that game I did really like, but it was before I decided I liked Metroidvania, so
Yeah.
I'd love to go back and try that again, because that's another one that I keep hearing people talking about the gameplay loop and it just feeling really nice to move around the world. And Guacamelee is another one I'd like to return to now.
What a
that sort of-
game.
I feel like I get Metroidvanias now, so maybe one day.
Because you already really liked that.
I did, yeah, I did really like that. So now I wonder
The
if I'd
second
like
one I
even
remember
more.
being incredible as well.
Oh, really? Oh, I
Like
forgot there's two.
both those games I remember being just absolutely fantastic Metroidvanias.
Maybe I should just go to the second one. Maybe that's the
Yeah.
that's
Don't
the
need
way
to
to
know
do it.
anything. Again, you don't need to know the story really.
No. Yeah, and remind me to tell you about this game that I've just stuck on my wish list on Steam. After the podcast. In fact, I've just done it on the podcast now. This is a non sequitur, so you can feel like you can cut this out or leave it in if you think it's interesting. But I keep not talking to you about these games because I keep thinking, oh, Alex doesn't like these, but that's a total lie. We were talking about turn-based combat games. They've just released like an XCOM style game, but for superheroes,
Metal
and it's
Slug?
called Capes.
Oh,
So it's like
sorry.
it's like an XCOM game, but you are controlling superheroes. And it just seems
Really?
it seems really cool.
And it's not Marvel related in
It's
any
not
way.
Marvel related in any way.
Good.
So check out Capes next time you're at a loose end in front of a TV screen, an internet browser. That's the one. It looks really cool.
Capes.
Capes, Capes. Right, where are we next? Yeah, so like I say, sort of just to round up, the narrative exists, but I guess that's all it's meant to do. Because
Yeah.
I don't really have much to add to that. Next up to
No.
chat about, I've got gameplay. What do you think about the upgrade path? Do you know what I liked about it? I thought it was really smart because it steadily. Oh, it does that Metroidvania thing where it dangles like late game stuff in front of you, and you can't interact it till late, which I really like when it does that. The other thing I like is like it subverts itself isn't the right idea, but I feel like in these games, the first thing it always gets thrown at you is the double jump, and you do not get the double jump until like pretty late on in the
Yeah,
game.
they really keep it held back from you, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what you've played much more of these types of games than me, but the thing I liked about it is, especially, is that each power feels incredibly meaningful and like can like very much dramatically change the way you play the game. From like the what have we got from the teleport thing? I wrote them down, so let's have a look. We've got. I did write them down. I typed them all out. So we've got the Rush of Simurgh, which is the first one you get, which is the dash. And then you've got Shadow of the Simurgh, which is the teleport. Then you've got Dimensional Claw, which is essentially an object grabber. And you've got Dimensional Shifter. Dimensional Claw. Yeah, Dimensional Claw is that one where he's like cuts in a rift in time and you can like absorb like an exploding
Oh, yes, to throw the
I was like, I need
items
to
and stuff.
elaborate on that because that sounds like the last power you get.
Yeah, the items, those items last for like infinite as well.
Yeah,
Like if
so
you,
good.
I remember I'd have died loads and loads of times and done loads of stuff, and I'd still have a little item saved. Like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, shit.
And there's clairvoyance, which is like a dimensional shifter. You like clicking the stick and it makes things
Yeah,
appear and
that's
disappear.
not really a power that you use
No, I
for anything other than when you're forced to use it for
that just
traversal, isn't it?
made some puzzles more interesting, I think. Um Gravity wings, which is essentially the double jump, which is the second last power you get, and then the last one is fabric of time, which is for all intents and purposes a grappling hook, which again is really fun to use. Again, like like you're talking
Yeah,
about
that was good.
the dimensional shifter not being something you particularly use unless you were forced to use. I think what I do like about each of these ones is the way that they sort of layered puzzles up, or like, do you know what I mean? So like they would just sort of like, as you move through the world, you would have to use puzzles that used to dash, and then it would be like dash and teleport, then it would be like dash, teleport, blow something up, dash, teleport, blow something up, and then shift dimensions. And then obviously the adding the double jump stuff, because like the adding with the double jump, the teleport, and the dash, you can really shift across the map with that. And yeah, you'd end up doing things. Did you do that area where it was like the bugs going around and you had to like dodge through them? And then there was like the
Like in the sand,
yeah,
where you just got to swim up through the sand and these
yeah.
giant. Yeah, that
That
was really tough,
that
but it
was
felt
bloody
so satisfying to get through it.
yeah. Um yeah, I just thought it'd probably be worth mentioning the powers and the upgrade path. Like I say, I thought it
I
was really
think, yeah, I think it's brilliant. I think the way that it's as you say, it's spaced out quite
mhm,
significantly as well. And doing that with the map of the size of this, if they didn't have a decent teleportation or fast travel
mhm.
system set up, that would suck. If the map was difficult to read or too vague, you'd be in trouble. But fortunately, the teleporting was pretty good. But even better once you can teleport through the health what do you call them, the save trees. I don't know what they're called now, the whack whack trees,
Whack
whatever
whack
it is.
trees, yeah.
So you basically more than double your teleportation implements, and taking photos of stuff that you can't access. The fact that if you get to a wall or something in the map, and you can't get through it, and it tells you it would draw like a little arrow, a white arrow, to be like, no, mate, you can
You've
only get
come,
through this
yeah.
from
I
the other
forgot about
side.
that. Yeah,
Like th- this is probably the best map that's ever been in a Metroidvania, purely because it was informative. It didn't it didn't have too many different legend items that would get confusing. And the taking the picture is that should be in every Metroidvania game that's ever made moving forward.
I actually,
I
yeah.
know Nintendo have tried to do stuff like that as well before, with like drawing stuff on 3DS games or whatever, where you could like mark the map yourself
Mhm.
for later. But just being able to take a picture of what it is that's there when you go back there is the most useful thing they've ever put in any of these games.
I
It
was,
just saves so much fucking about. You don't even have to go there and look. You just go, oh yeah, I'm not
that's
going
that
there because
one. Yeah,
I don't have clearly what that is. It's a double jump bit.
I
Can't do it.
actually wrote that down just now, as you were chatting there, because I was like, I can't believe I've not written that in the notes. That the pictures, like, it's an absolute game changer. Like, it just changes the
Mm.
way you interact with the map, because you can just set pictures up around. For those that haven't played it, you can take essentially a screenshot that then imposes itself
Yeah,
onto the map, and you can basically, if you're like, one thing that is always, I think I've complained to you to this a few times, one thing that used to bug me about these types of games is that you'd be walking around and you'd be like, you'd have a look at the map and you'd see, is like, oh, that's an area that I can progress, but I haven't explored that yet. And you like trek all the way back,
I hope I don't forget that that's there later on.
and then instantly would, yeah. And I'd trek all the way back and like, oh yeah, I can't get past there yet. Well, that was a waste of
Yeah,
10 minutes traversing.
yeah.
The other thing that's quite interesting is the way that they drip fed isn't the right word, but the way that they sort of, as you progress through the game, they sort of steadily took the reins off you in terms of the fast travel. So when it began, there wasn't any fast travel at all, and you had to manually go everywhere. And then they unleashed the fast travel points that you can use. And then towards the end of the game, they're just like, just if you get to a whack whack tree, you can just go wherever you want, basically. And I thought that was really smart, that they just sort of like
Yeah,
just
because you're at a
let the
stage where you're
leash
going to be
off.
mopping things up now.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, and they
Thought
just
that was great.
it was really really good. The other thing I've got is like include within the upgrade path, like upgrading the items and stuff and the medallions. The medallions reminded me like a baby's first version of what's that game, other Metroidvania we played that went wild with the add-ons you could do. The Japanese one that was just weird. What's the other main name Metroidvanias we've played? Bloodstained.
Yes.
Yeah, that one is it was sort of like that. What I liked about my sort of enduring memory of Bloodstained is the fact that like the way in which you could use your little I can't remember what they called it in those, was it like hats or something, or like clothes or different outfits that you would wear. You could really sort of drill down and sort of almost character create your playstyle. This felt like a sort
Mm.
of baby's first version of that, and you could sort of use different things to exploit. There was bits where you could like eventually add on like, well, that this wasn't medallions, but you could upgrade the damage you do in certain bits. So like if you are someone that likes to juggle, i.e., do damage in the air, there was medallions that you could put on that would just increase your damage doing that. I just liked the fact that
Yeah.
you could sort of tweak the way the medallions work to sort of augment your playstyle. And then on top of that,
Exactly.
they had like a sort of more overt upgrade path as well, where you go in and like use your gemstones and these little bits that you'd found to just upgrade like damage and health overtly. One thing actually, now I'm speaking about this, is remember the guy you meet down in the poison area, and he's
Hmm.
like he's like only accepts blah
Yeah.
blah blah.
The coins. Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot he existed. So
Xerxes.
I have not I did
He doesn't
not
have
go
anything of
right.
use.
Okay, that's okay. Because I was just
Nah.
as I was chatting there, I just realized I did not go back to see him after I met him.
I did, and I bought one thing he had, but I don't know how often I used it. But you made an excellent point there about the augmentation of your chosen play style or combat style. Because combat, even though I said earlier on it's not too overly complicated, and it's malleable to an extent for how you want to use it. It's a very core component of this game. The combat is not the way that a Castlevania game has combat or Bloodstained, where the enemies are just kind of there
Mhm.
and they probably have a move and you hit them enough times until they die. This enemies will have like unblockable moves. They'll have moves that you can counter. They'll have a full set of like, attack options to them as well. They'll be mobile. So you actually every combat encounter is an encounter rather than just
Yeah.
enemies that you can just hit like one shot after a while in the game. Like they're all you have to like the combat is actually properly focused on as a key part of the game. So I did actually do quite a lot of the stuff that you were saying about in the air. Like I quite liked the hit them up in the air, jump up, do loads of
Mhm.
attacks because I had that medallion on the go quite a lot of well, if you upgrade that medallion as well, where I was into doing like greatly increase your damage done to people while in the air, mixed with greatly increase the damage of standard melee attacks or something. It's just, yeah, really tried to up my juggling game,
Yeah, I think I probably should have engaged with that stuff more.
especially
There.
when you've got the grappling hook and then you can pull yourself
Oh
towards the
yeah,
enemies that
of
are in the air
course.
as well, and then you can dash after them. It can really start to flow really nicely, and so the enemy's got no chance to even like hit the ground, let alone attack you back.
There are some absolute buggers for enemies. That there was these enemies, the ones with like the massive bow and arrows. They just constantly get like
Oh,
towards
I hated those assholes.
yeah, they
Yeah.
just constantly gave me shit. And then there was I just loved the guy in the ice area that would be carrying a coffin around, and if you give him space, he'd like open his coffin and just like start letting bad
I
guys
thought
out.
that was great.
He was
Yeah, that
fun.
was brilliant.
And if you went near him, he tried to smash you over the head with his coffin, which yeah, I just quite I really
Yeah.
liked him. Um, yeah, there was guys with shields that were quite fun as well, and even like the giant birds towards the end, and the other ones that
Those
kept
shield guys, this just honestly just never stopped pissing me off.
yeah.
I was always trying to use charge attacks. It just never ever worked
Oh, it was yeah. What
because
did
they
you
always hit me while I was trying to charge it up, but I knew I had to charge up to break the shield. It's all
did
right,
you
ball ache.
did you mess with those LT moves again? Like I settled into like LT moves. It was like like LT and X would do a special, or L2 depending on what console you're playing it on, or L2/LT and Y. Do you mess about with those? I basically finished the game with the two I started with.
Um,
That was the
no,
dash
I
one.
messed I messed with them, what they called Athrosurges. I
Yeah, that's
messed
it.
with the like I said, I messed with the one that made you like your super powered version of you. You had to get it to level 3 for that one to be
That's right. Yeah.
usable, but I had that for boss fights. But after that, I basically had I think I changed it to one where he would do like an attack that sort of like went horizontally across the screen
Oh, yeah, good one.
because I felt like that would hit most people, even if I wasn't close to them. Because the one where you did like a close in attack, sometimes I wouldn't hit them first with the first
Yeah.
few stages of that. So yeah, I had that one, and for the most part, I had the one where you could just do that healing circle and stand in it because it just saved me using up potions if I was out in the field.
Yeah.
I could keep my
Ah,
potions longer because
smart.
I had a
Yeah.
healing ability that all I had to do was kill enemies to top it up
Mm.
and then leave it for a bit.
The other thing I want to touch on in terms of this sort of gameplay aspects, it's just that little girl that you could find and then buy the map off of. Is that a
Hmm.
thing in Metroidvania? Because I really found that useful. The game just if you could find her, she would let you buy the map and you could see how big the map was, what you hadn't explored, and then once you had done that, you could then go back to the hub area and buy the treasure maps off her for that area. I find that really useful because again, like something that sort of I don't know, it doesn't bug me, but just low level, just like scrapes at me is like a lot of these games just want you just like I feel like artificially extend themselves by just brutally making you explore and poke in every single area. Whereas this game sort of respects your time in that regard and will let you just it's like, okay, you found that. There's a lot to do in this game because it's not short. It's like 20 hours, I think my play count was by the end of it.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Here's the stuff you need to do, here's the areas. If you do the work to get to this point, then they sort of let the reins off in a respectful way. They don't just sort of diminish exploration by giving you all in one go, but they just sort of drip feed it to you enough that forces you to explore to a point and then just thinks, right, you've done enough, off you go, enjoy the
I
game.
think I said to you at some point, didn't I, that like a Metroidvania is the one genre of game where a Ubisoft map is fine with me because that's helpful because all I'm doing is exploring the map. Like if I'm trying to play a linear story and you're fucking wrecking it by putting side bullshit all over the place, that's annoying. But if the whole point of the game is go find the side shit, then yeah, stick icons to help me get there. That's what I want. Have you just sent me some kind of horrible picture of the map?
No, no. As you were chatting there, I
Oh
was
no.
just like, the next thing I want to chat about is the map. So I thought I would send you a picture of the map. So if I tell you an area name, that you can at least sort of, given that you've not played in it a couple of weeks, have a look at it.
Yeah.
The next one I'll send you is the bosses. So you can remind yourself by those. Um,
Oh, but what I was going to say actually
yeah, carry on.
that I've just remembered before the game, before we played this game, well, rather at the very first moment of turning the game on, you were quite apprehensive about which version of the game to pick, weren't you? You kept saying like, "Oh, I really don't know if I want to pick the one that's," because what was it? What was the other version that we didn't pick? It's like a helped version or a you're on your own
Oh
sort of version,
yeah,
isn't it?
basically. Oh, okay, yeah. I was wondering where you were going with that. Yeah. There's a there's a version that you can play blind, or there's a version that will give you like a little icon on the map, and it's like this is the area you need to aim for.
Yeah.
Given that I ended
Did
up,
you?
I started off without it, and then given that I felt like I was on a time limit once you finished it, um,
Yeah.
I turned it on just so that I had a rough idea of the direction I was meant to be going. Because I
Yeah.
was really enjoying the exploration, which is part of the reason probably why I went back to it afterwards. Yeah, I was enjoying
Yeah, I think I
poking
said to you,
around.
like, if it's just going to tell you where to go, that's fine because all you're
Yeah,
going to do then is just explore on your way there. So it's not like you, yeah,
exactly. And I actually found that when I turned it on, it only helped to a certain extent because I had a rough idea of the area I was meant to go to. Quite often it would have, so like if you hadn't been to the area, it would just be an icon popped off in the distance, and it wouldn't
mm,
tell you. So you'd like be off exploring, and you get to a bit, and you're like, "Oh, I've gone the wrong way for this," and then have to go all the way back. So I actually did ended up feeling like I wasn't missing anything by having that on. The other thing I keep meaning to mention, it keeps popping in my head and vanishing again while you're chatting. So this seems like as good a time to bring it up any, because I'll forget if I don't. You seem to take sort of like a 5 minutes to get on with this game. Is that? Did I read that right?
I think I said to you, I was struggling with it's really difficult at the beginning and getting lost and keep ending up in the fucking poison area and getting poisoned.
I did that.
Just a lot of game over screens, a lot of getting lost. But I think I said to you, like,
This is. I think
I'm
it's like,
fully
yeah.
expected that this is growing pains of a Metroidvania, and I will be really powerful and good at this at some point. But right now, yeah, it's this. I'm used to it. It's banging a head against the wall doesn't mean it's any more enjoyable. But yeah, I expect them to treat you that way, and it's
Yeah.
the hurdle of that you want to overcome that makes you want to keep playing and exploring to get past
Something
the
like
early pain.
it was something like, I know this is good, but I'm not having fun at the moment, or something along
Yeah,
those lines. Yeah.
yeah. And plus, it's quite story heavy as it sort of starts at the beginning,
Oh,
and
it
it's just
does.
like, all
Yeah.
these people are shit. So can you all shut up now
I
and
actually
just give
did
me the
get to
map and let me start
I actually
doing it?
did get to the point where I was just spamming through because I just stopped caring. I was like, I need to know this for this podcast, but beyond that, I just do not care what this story has got to say anymore.
Yeah,
A lot of
we're
cool,
getting
like
too old for that shit now.
a lot of cool visuals. As much as annoying, there's like this Menelaus like special move where he went like Super Saiyan on us. That was such a cool visual, even if it was annoying when he
Yeah,
did it to you, because you'd have to watch. Every boss had one of those where you just have to watch them batter shit out of you for like 20 seconds. It was cool like the first couple of times, but eventually when you're just getting done by it over and over again, I sort of was like, okay, thank you, Menelaus. Let me move on.
totally with you there. Like unskippable
Yeah,
mini cutscene, but which is only ever played because you're gonna get fucked up by this.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Still to this day, never figured out how to block or counter Menelaus when he did that Super Saiyan power up move. I just had to hope he didn't turn it on while I was trying to hit him.
Mm-hmm.
But you said
You
it
just
was
never figured it out.
blockable. You said it was blockable, so
He said it might have been, but I just couldn't remember. I'd need to see somebody play it. I'd never got a chance to watch you fight him. I wish I had. But that either it was that or it was dodgeable, and I guess it was knowing he was going to do it, and you have to get out of the way. Like if you're caught by it, you are done. But
it
I
felt
felt like
like
there
it.
was definitely one move where like the wind up. It might not have been him, but there was definitely a boss where the wind up was. This is a yellow wind up. Sorry, this is count. You can counter this, but if you don't, you're sitting and watching that stupid cutscene of him, doing the Kamehameha.
Yeah. I want to quickly look up this map because I'm not clicking what area this is. I realise I've just sort of sent you a list of the map areas. That was the only way I could think to do it. So if there's an area that we talk about that jumps out that you're like, oh, I don't remember what this is, at least you can sort of quickly search the name of the area and see it.
Mm-hmm.
Next thing I thought I wanted to touch on, we've kind of briefly touched on this already, but the map, I think it was the Sunken Harbour that we've spoken about already. That is it's probably my favourite area of the game with the frozen sea that you're moving across, and even beyond the frozen sea, when you reach that ship and it's just exploding around you, that's my favourite bit. Is there any other areas that jumped out? We spoke about the depths, which is the poison area being a son of a bitch. It actually ended up being okay once you get settled into it. It's just brutal right at the beginning when you stumble in there.
That prison was a pain in the ass, wasn't it? With that fucking prison guard.
Yes.
Kept locking me up for a while because I was too desperate to try and kill him, but I couldn't, and I didn't really get what was going on there.
Gonna have to look this. Gonna have to look this prison guy up. Just. And my laptop prison. No, it hasn't. Oh shit! Yeah, him, the jailer.
Yeah.
Oh, he's a bastard. Him. I quite enjoyed. So you encounter him. Oh, is he in the the archives or something like that? The other guys in that area that kept, I felt sorry for them, and then this just began to piss me off when you sort of encounter them, and they're sort of working on the books or something, and they're like, "Oh no, he's coming," and they're just quiet, and then all of a sudden they just get aggro and start lobbing potions at you. So like fire potions, poison potions. You go from feeling
There
sorry
was
for
a
them to just fucking them up, because I started trying to avoid them, thinking, "Oh, they're just these guys that are getting bullied," and then I was just like, "Fuck them, fuck these guys."
there, there's a set of those lads who are all stood in front of a wall doing
There's a puzzle over there. I
something.
never figured that one out. Did you?
Yeah, that's one of those bits where it's got like a block in the floor, and I never knew what to do. But you could talk to those ones.
Hmm. Never realized that. I wondered if there was like a, so when there's like a block in the floor, and then there's like 3 or 4 like also round circles beside that block. My assumption was you had to get them all to stand in the circles.
Mhm.
I'm sure I did it and nothing happened, so I obviously got that one wrong. I tried for the most part when it came to those puzzles to just try and not waste it for myself. And if I figured it out, I figured it out, and if I didn't, I didn't.
There's enough. I felt like there was enough elsewhere to get you to work to a level you needed to be, rather
Yeah.
than having to cheat your way through all the puzzle
Yeah,
answers to
exactly. The other thing
max your character out.
I wanted to ask you about while we're on this is the puzzles as well. What did you think of the puzzles that was like you had to have 3 versions of yourself in the map at the same time, all doing things to allow you to get to the end? I quite liked those by the end of it. Do you know what ones I'm meaning?
3 versions of
Yeah, so
yourself.
there would be like a stone pillar. You'd walk up to it and you pressed up on it, and then you'd get, it would like flash, and then there'd be a timer at the top, and you had to run and like pull a lever. They say there's like 20
Oh,
seconds. At the end
yeah.
of 20 seconds, whatever you'd done, you'd
Yes.
zap back. The second version of yourself, you could see the first version of yourself going on and activating all these. In the
Yeah,
second
that
version of
was
yourself had
great.
to go and pull other levers so that the third version of yourself could then get to the end of the puzzle and collect some scroll thing. They were really
Yeah.
smart, some of those.
They were really, yeah, because that was a point where it's like basically bringing in everything you've learned up to
Mhm.
that point as part of that little obstacle course race thing. Oh, yeah,
Did you do?
really cool.
Did you?
There was very. I don't think there were really any puzzles in this game that I thought were bad, or like none of
No,
the
some of them were just
movement
hard.
exploration stuff. It was hard, but I never thought like anything was a weaker part of the game
Mm.
in that regard. Like, yeah, some of the bosses were overly annoying, but the actual, like, yeah, the way that they sorted out how your movement and your abilities would help you to do, like, the amount of different sort of creative ideas they put around those abilities to make puzzles that were fun to solve and made you feel like you were really good at the game while doing it, and really satisfying to overcome the challenge of it. Yeah, but I just thought they hit so many times.
Did you encounter the pirate that you had to go and rescue his parrot?
Yes.
And then the parrot whispers to you and gives you some marks on your map saying there's treasure here. I
I found like I'd already got most of it.
I thought I had them all, but then there was no like go back and speak to the parrot. So I wondered if I'd done it properly.
You never got rid of the X's off the map after I found them
No.
either.
Yeah, so I made me think I was missing something with that.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't get that. I think that was just supposed to be like an early version of a treasure
A
map that you could
treasure
pay
map, yeah.
because I'm pretty sure I paid that girl for a treasure map, and then it ended up just putting the icons over his little X's
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, it was a weird one.
That
And
was a weak reward for a really tough challenge that you had to
that
wait till
challenge was
quite late
tough.
on to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talking about those
Loved all that stuff though, like jumping up different like spiky bits and having to land on the
really
right
like
side
them.
and dashing and yeah. Oh, it's just
The
brilliant.
ones I started struggling with was later in the game. They carry on obviously doing that thing. I think it is. I'm looking down this. I think it's in maybe the upper city of the map. Where they start giving you like you've got to jump on the bits of safety, and then they're like coffins that sprout spikes. So you've only got a certain amount of time
Oh
that
yeah.
you can rest on them before moving on, and you basically just had to keep going. Just that was so hard, but it's so fun. Yeah, I
Mm.
think that's going to be one of my takeaway memories of these. Like, I want to call them puzzles, but they're more challenges where you've got to like get to an area and then
Yeah.
get back without getting hit
Oh
with
yeah.
a coin at
Just
the
to get a
end.
fucking coin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I felt
Yeah.
like I didn't need the coin, but I was just like, I want to do this. So I
Yeah.
just found
Yeah.
myself doing it over and over again.
Yeah.
They were so well done. The Waka Waka sorry, Waka Waka, the Whack Whack tree. I don't know, what are they like? Demons, beasts, spirits. I thought they were going to do something with them, and then nothing happened with them. Did I miss something?
Yeah. I don't know. That yeah, they just sort of had a quick line about
Yeah,
something vague
some of
and
them looked
confusing.
weird, some of them didn't.
One of them helped you in the catacombs. He was a lad. The rest of them don't understand what they were there for.
No.
That was weird.
uh, we're gonna have to talk about the bosses, Alex.
Yeah, let's do it.
Well, we start off. What bosses did you? No. Let's finish positive. So in fact, I was looking through this. There's none of the bosses I particularly disliked. There were some of the bosses that I felt, am I just not good enough to beat these guys? Like Menelaus gave me a real hard time. Orod gave me a hard time for a bit, and then he just died. The Varum final fight did a sort of similar thing. I was just getting wiped out time after time after time, and then
Fucking rewinding the time, and he bastard.
yeah, and then I sort of got him. That I really enjoyed the previous Farum fights where you're sort of fighting them on that bridge. They were really fun.
It was great.
They were just
Yeah, that
constantly
was really
moving.
good.
It was like Menelaus, but not on steroids.
Yeah, because there is a real flow to some of the like one-on-one duel fights. I think that's why everybody seems to like those kind of fights in a Souls game, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd agree.
Like there are people who love the big hulking screen feeling dragon shit, but then you typically find that like, oh, I prefer the one-on-one like human versus human shit because it just feels like a fucking dance of death. And yeah, there was like the Menelaus and stuff. Like once you're kind of in the zone with it, you are just both of you are just zipping around that screen, pulling off all kinds of athletic shit, desperately trying to make the space to get a hit in without getting absolutely punished for it.
I feel
So, like you, I don't think there was any that I disliked, but there were just some that I had to really focus and sort of learn each part of it as I kept chipping away.
I feel like you're going to. I don't know. Actually, I'm interested to hear what your opinion is. I've got a bit of a love-hate relationship with, so like with the Menelaus fight, for example. That was a. I don't know whether this is fair or not, but it reminded me very much of a sort of Souls boss fight in that you had to memorize his attack patterns.
Yeah,
I've got a bit of a love-hate relationship with that because on one hand, I like the satisfaction of there being a really hard boss and you finally besting him because you have outskilled him essentially. There's the aspect of that that doesn't sit easy with me is that I don't find it particularly fun just learning moves, if that makes sense. So like I enjoy the skill payoff of when it's really hard, like I found Menelaus. I just same with Souls games. I have there's a bit of me I'm like I just can't be bothered learning attack patterns because there's a bit of me that's like, is this skill or am I just
I agree.
memorizing what's happening? Does that make sense? I feel like I've stumbled over
Yeah,
that, but hopefully I've made myself.
It's testing an element of your, well, not even really of your ability to play. It is testing your ability to play the game, but moreover, it's testing your ability to memorize more often than not like 10 plus things in a very like sort of 5 to 10 minute fight, and react to them all very, especially Menelaus, react to them incredibly quickly.
Yeah,
based off a tell that you might not even see coming. But I think what you're getting at there, of course, is like you want the boss to be tough and challenging, but for you to be able to use your own skills to best them rather than use your own skills to not get fucked up
I
repeatedly
want it to be a
because
skill
you've
challenge,
forgotten what
not a
that
memory
actually means.
challenge. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
completely agree with that.
like because
I feel like the king was a big time one of those.
Yes,
King, what was his name?
King Darius.
Darius.
Yes,
he was probably one of the worst offenders for like, here's all of his tails and his big moves, and you've got this is the one I've got to jump up and swing across the little things because he's doing ice and all. Yeah, He was quite like that. But
And it's because it's like I think I've said this a few times, but while I work, I usually stick Twitch on in the background so that like someone playing it. So usually it's someone playing Elden Ring for some reason, and I don't know why, because I've never completed that game. But
I'd
I
say
just
there's going to be a lot more of that coming up in a minute
yeah,
with the old DLC.
yeah, just sitting watching someone do it, and see when you watch someone that is doing like a no hit run, and they're fighting bosses, and it's like it's obviously impressive that they can get through the whole game and not make a mistake. But like you're watching them, and they're just like they're barely even looking at the screen, and they're just like, it's just like that is not skill.
Yeah,
You've just memorized buttons, and I just like, why is that? That's not what I want from video games.
I think that's probably a lot of why people like speedrunning the Souls type of games, because it can be it's a thing that you can overcome a skill barrier by just memorizing tells and patterns
Yeah,
and making it really easy on yourself, or of course, making yourself so OP that you just one shot everybody.
yeah. So it's a feeling I've got about certain boss fights that, like I say, enjoy the payoff, but there's a bit of me that's not. I need to sit and sort of mull it over a bit more and digest a bit more about what my feelings really are on it, because yeah, like the more like where Souls games come in, for example, the more and more I sort of think about Elden Ring. I want to go back to that game, but I honestly don't want to go back on my own. I want to play with someone. I enjoy playing those games with someone, I think, at this point.
I was talking about that today actually, and I think with the way Elden Ring is, it's just like having to, because of the long period of time since that game came out, it's like having to remember how to play it again, but not at the beginning of
Yeah.
the game, like deep in the end game content when you've got all your powers already unlocked, and you've got to try and remember how they all work, and then deal with probably harder challenges than in the base game. Like, don't know if I can be asked.
I've got yeah. Again, it's a bit of a. It's interesting that you can't be bothered. I was watching a video today actually that they sort of start really easy on you to allow you to sort of remember how you play the game. So
Oh, really? Okay,
yeah,
that's
so
good.
maybe that's a thing that'll let you in, let you into it. Yeah, it's just again, this is a non sequitur, but there's bits of Elden Ring that I think about, and I'm like, that is like up there with some of the most fun video game moments. Like when it was like the Eye of Sauron part that you and I did, where we were creeping behind rocks and stuff.
No,
And
that was
and
great.
when it started happening, we couldn't figure out what was happening, and
Hmm.
when the madness was happening. When we figured it out, we sat and figured it out, and then did it, and then we basically just tried to work our way up and get to the eye and destroy it. Loved that.
Yeah,
And
that
then
was brilliant.
on the flip of that, when I think about, there's like long corridors of cliffs that I'm riding down as giants fire arrows at me, and I'm just like, fuck that. I cannot be arsed with that.
Yeah,
It is such,
yeah.
again, like we're talking about love hate. This is maybe the David theme of this episode. There's just like parts of that I'm just like, this is awesome, and other parts I'm just like, I can't be fucked. And it's just like, which one is it going to be? But for the most part,
Yeah.
other than like I say, the Menelaus thing is the reason we ended up talking about this. Is the Menelaus thing is like I find it so difficult, but I think now I've beaten him and I've got like out of the way of it. I think I mostly like it. There's just the slight bit of learning boss patterns that I'm just like, nah.
Mm.
The one that sticks in my mind as being one that, so I beat her first time, so that probably why. But like I beat the Kiana the Forest Queen first time by the skin of my teeth. It's those moments in bosses that I really like. It's like one hit and she would have got me dead, but I got that extra hit. Do you know which one I'm talking about?
She was a good boss. She was riding on that big sort of wolf thing and then kept going into the
Yes,
background and coming
yes.
back out again.
Again,
Yeah, I
cool use of
definitely did
color
not.
or
Oh, when it switches
lack
to
of
like
color. Yeah,
the red silhouette
yeah,
Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze style,
yes.
yeah. Yeah, I definitely did not do that first time. I thought, yeah, that she was pretty tough, but yeah, that's an enjoyable fight for sure. There aren't really any bad ones. Again,
Not really. I think I agree
tough.
with
It's
you.
tough and frustrating, but I didn't feel like too many of them were cheap or unfair. They were just like fast. So
Yes.
they demanded a lot of you, but I don't think they fucked you over.
No, like I say, I kind of agree with it. I don't know if you said this, so I won't say I agree with you, but like King Darius, I think is maybe one of the weaker ones for me.
Yeah, I did say that. Yeah, he is.
I did enjoy the first one, General Uvishka, because it was just for me unexpected. So like you come up against this guy, it's like, oh, I was not expecting this from this game. This game is not fucking about, and that was kind of a fun sort of like clue of things to come. It's just like, oh,
Yeah.
this is almost like a warning shot across the bows, and man, did that game come at you later on in the game.
Yeah, he was very early Sekiro guy on horse boss reminder for me.
Yeah.
A lot easier than that guy on the horse in Sekiro, though. That guy fucking sucks.
Did you deliberately go out your way to fuck with any of the side quests in the game? Or did you sort of deal with them if they happened and then not bother otherwise?
I'm pretty sure that I wanted to do as many of them as possible and found the game was so unwilling to help me figure out where I was supposed to go and how many of them I'd done that I would just expect them to show up as I did, like as I uncovered the whole map.
So did you
But
not get?
I didn't do that many of them
Did
at
you
all.
not get the icons in the map then?
Could you get that at some
I
point?
wondered. So maybe when I turned on the
Oh, sorry,
big
no, I didn't get
objectives,
those.
So when you turn on that big objective, it tells you where to go for each of the. It doesn't tell you what to do, obviously, and sometimes you can't interact with them. But it tells you that there was one I had a side quest with a guy, and before you enter the room, there's like a moon hanging outside the door. Do you
I
remember that
couldn't
one?
figure that out at all.
Right.
I've still got a picture of that on my map.
Tell you what, mate, I couldn't figure it out either, and I kept thinking, right, there's going to be something happen, and I'll get to mess with time, or I'll be able to turn the map to nighttime. No.
Oh, okay.
No. Because I completed the game and obviously nothing happened. I was like, I must. It was when I went back last night. I was like, I must have whatever. Because what was driving me mental was if you keep going, there was a guy in the next room that was hiding behind a box, and you couldn't jump over the box, and you couldn't get through the box, no matter how you angled yourself. And I was like, well, I can't interact with them. So I did this throughout the game, and then I kept coming back to them, trying, no. And at the end of the game, I was trying to interact with them. I can't interact with them. And I was like, well, I've completed the game. I must have the ability that lets me progress this. So I stopped moving. As soon as I stopped moving, you could just press up and speak to him. And I was like, oh my God, what an idiot. And basically he talks about moons, and he's like, I'm looking for the real moon. And then Sargon goes, the moon's in the sky, just go outside. And he's like, nah, that's not the real one. I'm on the quest for the real one. And he's like, follow me. And you've got to follow. And so the moon's outside because you've got to follow the moons to find out where he is next to activate the next part of the quest. And I
swear I found a moon in a room I just could not get into after that.
Oh, maybe you did.
And
because my whole interaction with that bit was like made me feel like a complete fucking idiot, basically.
I did not figure that out at all. I'd need to go back and see if I actually even spoke to him about going outside. I don't remember that dialogue bit about seeing the real moon outside, so maybe I didn't even do as much as you.
Maybe you didn't.
But I really wanted to do all the ones with the old dead soldiers. Go out and find all of them and kill them, but I have no idea where they were. And I assumed marked. I did. Okay. I thought I've done so much in the game. Yeah. Surely these guys should have shown up on my map completion, but nope.
I found one last night just going around uncovering maps. So what I did is I ran all the way back to the start of the map, and there's one at the start of the map. So I assume you missed him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, on the King's Road thing.
I can't remember what it's called, but yeah,
the old Royal Road or whatever it is. Right. I think I got that because I went.
Oh, did you go?
I wasted my time going all the way there and then getting stuck at. Is that the one where you go? You go in it and it would basically like warp you back to the start and be like,
yes, you must have got him there if you went back that far.
Yeah, I think I got that guy there. Yeah, but I didn't get all of them by the end. I can't remember. I think one of the only side quests I actually managed to figure out and do was to get the parrot, if that even was one.
Yeah,
and I got the thing for the blacksmith woman.
Oh, I did.
I got whatever she wanted. Can't remember.
Oh,
yeah, but she gave me something. She does give you something when you do it.
Good. Do you remember what she gives you?
It's a.
Let's Google.
It's a Yeah, Google it. It's a amulet of some kind that does it. It did seem quite useful.
Or if or I think that's what she wants. Ancient power. Here it goes. Reward for completing the side quest in the Lost Crown. Kavela will give you the Shield of Mithra amulet, which does I clicked the link and it's just taking me to all the amulets, so I've got to find it. Right, let's just Google it. Shield of Mithra amulet. It's effectively an extension of the time powers granted by the Simag. The bubble of time it creates slows enemies within it, and its circumference can be expanded through upgrades. Did you end up equipping that? That sounds quite good.
I had it on for a bit, yeah.
Yeah,
And then
like
again, I would take it off for bosses because it doesn't work. I think it says something about it doesn't work on bosses or something.
I was struggling for space on my Xboxes, so Prince of Persia is now fully uninstalled. Otherwise, I'd be tempted to go back.
I think I will play this again at some point.
I hope so.
But not for a while. Not for a while.
Because not since the Xbox 360 days have I been a man that would jump on DLC. I'm trying to think about games over the years where DLC would come out, like single player games where DLC would come out and I'd be like, oh, get on that DLC. Certainly the Mass Effect games did that.
Yeah.
They were some of those were really good. And I actually struggle beyond that to think. But this was one I would, if they brought a DLC, I'd buy it and I'd play this.
Yeah.
For sure.
Get some more, maybe half the size of the map.
Do you know
10-hour DLC?
Yeah. Do you know what bugs me? And it shouldn't bug me, but it does.
Liking something that Ubisoft made?
Yeah, exactly what I was about to say. Yes. It actively makes me angry that I really... like, when we come at the end of the year and we're talking about our games of the year, this might well be on with a shout.
There's any question, yeah.
And it's a Ubisoft game, and it does the annoying Ubisoft stuff.
And also, I had that massive bug where it crashed over and over and over again.
Tell people about that bug, because that is bloody awful.
It's in the Tower of Silence, I think. So kind of getting towards the end of the game, where you're trying to, I think, get to 3 bells or something that will open a door. I can't remember if that's exactly what you have to do, but basically, to get to the last one to progress the game, you go through a room, you slide under a door, and you get into like one of those combat encounters where it locks off. You can't escape and run past it. You have to fight them. But every time I'd 5-10 seconds into the fight, the game would just crash over and over again. And on Xbox, there's no crash report option unless there is, and I've turned that function off. I don't know. So just didn't know how to get past it. I went in the teleporter, went to loads of different areas, came back, tried to get to it from a different direction, went off and just did other stuff, and then came back and thought maybe if I've progressed a little bit differently, this will be my
go-to for that.
Uninstalled the game, reinstalled the game. Just nothing worked at all. I and this might make you feel better because I tweeted Ubisoft support about it, showed them the video that I captured of it. They completely ignored me. So I think I tweeted them and said something like, after I managed to figure it out, I went away, filled up all my Athra surge meter till I basically had a move that would kill that guy in one hit. So that I guess I killed him too quickly for the game to crash. After I did that, I went back to the tweet that Ubisoft support had completely ignored and said something along the lines of, I managed to do this in the end, but it was nice of Ubisoft support to ignore me. Come on, lads, it's just a game bug, not a sexual harassment claim by one of your female employees. So, got them. They, of course, did not reply to any of it.
They continue to ignore you.
Yeah.
I was, I think I told you about the time, but you may have absorbed it, but also you may have just been too angry at the bug you were experiencing to bother. But the only time, like, so there's two times I can think of in my gaming life that I've encountered like borderline, well, one game breaking bug and one borderline one. One was
Yeah,
playing.
because that was my game basically soft locked at that
You were
point.
done, yeah, you were done if you
Yeah.
didn't figure out how to do that. The first one was I was knee deep in one of the Formula One games, and I just turned on my Xbox one day, and the file was corrupt. That was that game over.
Ah.
But
Remember
one,
when that used to happen like quite a lot?
no,
Like,
that's the only time it's ever happened to me.
oh, you know, to have that with like memory cards and
Nope,
stuff, like
nope.
corrupt. So I had that when I was playing Dino Crisis 2 on a PC on an emulator, where it saves the game to my C drive and like just block 3 of the memory cards had
Such a
like bad corrupted data.
super
Could never
authentic.
save over it. Yeah.
The only other one that was similar to what you had was I was playing The Witcher 3, and there's a bit in. I'm trying to even remember the mission, but I think you go to a party or something, or you've got to break into this area in stealth, and basically the shit goes sideways and you get uncovered, and you go out into this room, and it is just filled with guards that are trying to kill you and explodable barrels. And if you
Oh
set
yeah,
off
you told me
one
about
of
this.
the
Yeah.
explodable barrels, it would set off a chain reaction to set them all off. And if I hit one of the explodable barrels, it would just set them all off, and the whole game would just crash. And it happened honestly like 10 times. So basically, a bit like you trying to gamify the crash,
Yeah.
figure out how to do it. I managed to. It was basically go into the room and just try and kill people as quickly as possible without anybody, because the enemies could also set the barrels off without setting off any of the barrels. And it just became this like game of a game where you were trying to just not set, because it's obviously the barrels that were causing the explosion, just trying to avoid
Yeah.
it.
If that's the intended challenge of the developer, like that's some like, you know, Daniel Mullins shit, isn't it? Like, right, I'm gonna crash your game if you
Yeah.
don't play this section properly.
And I don't know why it's just put this into my head, but this wasn't a bug in the slightest. But like, there's some every time I remember it, it just gives me a little internal chuckle. Is when you're trying to get into the main city in The Witcher 3, and you get to the bridge, and they're like, "Ah, no, you're not getting through because there's a block. I don't know, there's like a war on or something. Like, unless you've got the right papers, you're not getting through." And you're looking for you're looking for who's the first main big quest that's got like the dead baby and his wife has gone mad, the bloody Baron,
Oh
and
yeah.
you're looking for his daughter, and she's in whatever city this is. And you get there, and they're like, "Nah, you can't come in unless you've got the right papers." And when I was playing the game, I was like, "All right, okay." And I just basically took a hard left, leapt off the bridge into the water, and then just swimmed across into the city, and nobody stopped me or bothered. And I don't know why. I just love that. I just love that memory of just like a Witcher, just point blank. They're like, "You're not getting in." Point blank, and just turning left and just walking off the bridge into the water. I love that. Anyway, that's nothing to do with Prince of Persia.
It is great. That's like speedrunner shit, isn't it? Like, yeah, I've broken the game effectively, or I've out thought this code
in the shittest way possible as well.
Yeah.
Like, you'd think like a guard would be like, "Stop that man," but he's just like, he's like, "Yeah, well, all right, see you." One thing before we go back to this, and again, feel free if this doesn't fit or you don't think it's interesting. The video game industry, for all that we get sick of sequels, the video game industry needs to get better at getting sequels out. So, like, you know, like how every game takes like 5 years to make these days, right? Fine. If you're making a new IP, you need to make things from scratch. Like, for some reason, games like the Fallout New Vegases of the world have completely vanished from our gaming radar, and I do not understand. And the Bioshocks 2s, for example, as well as another one. Like,
Yeah.
these games have completely vanished from the gaming radar, and at a time when Microsoft specifically, and we're looking at a year when PlayStation are not really releasing anything other than Astrobot this year. Like,
Maybe that shitty Concord or whatever it is.
Yeah, like there's no reason why we can't be having more Uncharted games while Naughty Dog are off doing more Last of Us or whatever the hell they're doing. And there's no reason why we can't be, while they're working on the next big Skyrim, we can't be having another Elder Scrolls game just using the assets from Skyrim. Like, why is that gone away? Because surely that is a way to compress development time. You can still charge full price for it, and you'll get games out at a more regular clip. Have I gone mad? Like, why do Fallout New Vegas, for example, no longer exist? Is what I'm getting.
Yeah, because I think in all of those examples, and I think I had another
It's
one a
just
minute
another
ago that
developer that picks them up, and the Batman,
yeah,
Arkham,
that's it. That's what it
whatever
was.
City
Arkham Origins.
Origins.
Yeah, I don't. I think maybe the games industry has obviously gone a little bit, which we were all seeing now. We're all aware of this, that it's gone a bit too like high budget in almost everything that it does. So you're getting
It's too high
stuff
risk
like
now.
rather,
Far too high risk.
yeah, like instead of getting a company to make a like you say, sort of like a reusing of sort of a base framework, like a Majora's Mask or something.
Yep.
Um, what they're doing, like a company like, for example, Microsoft/Arcane, instead of getting them to do something like that, like make a Dishonored 3 or a Prey 2 or whatever, they're making them make a Redfall because that is their
It's not live. It's live
cheaper
service.
to make game, but it's live service, so we'll get a return on the investment. I think there's those missteps, or they're just getting them all to like, well, we've got loads of we've got like Arcane Austin and Arcane wherever the fuck Paris or wherever the hell it was,
Yeah.
Leon, that's what it was. Let's just get them all making a massive game all at once, and then we'll just have like loads of big hits coming out all the time, rather than, as you say, focusing on something that's worked, getting a junior development team or whatever, or a subsidiary, or a second party developer. Microsoft's got enough of them now to do things like this.
Think of the Call of Duty games as well. Like Treyarch used to be that for Infinity Ward with the Call of Duty games, and then they just started making better games after they sacked Vince Zampella, who went off to make Apex, and is now on Battlefield.
It is weird that you don't get a lot of that. Like here you have a go. Dead Rising 2, there's another one.
Yes,
that was
Blue Castle.
Who was that?
First
Blue
one.
Castle. That's
Blue
it.
Castle made the first one. I don't know who made the second one.
Well, Capcom was the first one, wasn't it? And then
Capcom
the second,
the publisher, I think. Let's have a look at this.
Oh,
You might be right.
I thought Blue Castle made 2,
You may be right.
after Capcom made 1.
Let's check. Dead
Because
Rising.
Capcom were doing it because they were outsourcing loads of their games to the West, weren't they?
You're right.
AKA DMC.
Let's have a look at Blue, because Dead Rising here, developers and publishers is Capcom. So let me just do Blue Castle games, because it's showing me pictures of Blue Castles now.
They definitely don't exist anymore.
Oh, they've turned it into Capcom Vancouver.
Oh,
they have made the Bigs, MLB 2K8, MLB the Bigs 2, Dead Rising 2.
The Bigs 2 is fucking the best baseball game ever made. Yep.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely spot on. They did Dead Rising 2 and 3 and 4.
And 3 and 4. Okay.
Dead Rising 4 was such a bummer because they actually did what everybody said they should do, and then they did it, and they were just like, "Oh, we didn't want that."
Yeah, bring back Frank, whatever his name is,
and make it an open world game. Take away the time limit. Did all that, and then people realized they didn't want that.
Yeah, they're like, "Oh, it's just this." Oh,
it's just a bog standard open world game. But anyway,
right. Let's make loads of YouTube videos and reanalyze the original and how the time limit was good instead.
The games industry has become obsessed with. I think you nailed it early on, though. The games industry is too obsessed with live service games now.
Yeah,
which might, and I don't know why. Well, I do know why, because when they hit, they make so much money. But most of them don't make any money. Surely making some money is better than making no money. Anyway.
Yeah, it's an inherent flaw in the fucking model, isn't it? There can only be one live service game in one person's life, because that's how. If you want it to be their whole life, they're only going to be able to play one.
Yeah, and I will actually say, like,
if you're not that one, you never will be.
I think we're now past peak live service as well. For like me, for example, I know this is like, this is not an official scientific sample, but like, our live service game was Apex for a number of years, and I'm actually a happier person now that I've broken the Apex streak, because it means
I have to log in every day, do your dailies,
play different games, and I'm so much happier playing different games.
Yeah, I can guarantee we've had worse times and felt worse after a shitty whole evening of Apex losing every match than you did for all of that Menelaus fight.
Exactly, yeah. Maybe
Yeah.
that's how I got through it. I knew I've been in worse places.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, the only other thing I've got to really chat about here now is a little bit about the development. So I'll read this, and then
Oh, yeah,
you can
okay.
sort of touch it. It's really short, and then you can touch on this if you want to add anything or offer color commentary to it. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown is developed by Ubisoft Montpellier, the studio behind the Rayman series, which again, when I
Makes
read
sense why it's
this,
so
makes
good.
sense why it's so good. Development of the game lasted for around 3.5 years. Gareth Coker is an Iranian-based composer. Mentrix served Iranian-based composer. Sorry, Gareth Coker and Iranian-based composer Mentrix served as the game's composers. Sorry about that sentence. The game was heavily inspired by Persian mythology, shock horror, with the game's director Munir Radi adding that the team wanted to bring some light to a mythology that maybe should be better known, as well as knowing how Persian culture has affected other mythologies by introducing monsters like the Manticore as one of the boss characters. The other thing that I wanted to touch on as well, this is one of the only games that has ever been translated into Farsi, which is the Persian language, and
Sorry, we're talking about Iran here,
it
right?
must be, yeah, that's where Persia's from, right?
That's what Persia is now.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So that's what they speak, and um, there is one voice actor in this Farsi translation that plays 7 different characters. But I didn't write down the characters, which I just thought it was funny. It just
Oh,
reminded
the
me of
old
South Park.
be, be the old men, surely.
Must be.
There's loads of old weirdos. Be the old man, the old king, the fucking guy down in the sewers who's old. Be
Yeah.
all of them.
Um,
Yeah.
the other actually, there's two things. I'm going to write down a note here so I don't forget. The other thing about development is, again, it being a Ubisoft game is completely shocking that, like, when I was reading about development, it is just seems to be decided to make game, made game, released game, success, which just seems like
Nobody got touched where they didn't want to get touched.
nobody got touched. Nobody tried to turn it into a live service game. No, like
Nobody crunched. But they probably crunched.
probably. Yeah, it just seems like it is the anti 2024 video game when everything's filled with like something's popping off, something's catching fire.
It's
Yeah,
EA remaking Dead Space
yeah,
all over again.
which is a shame that we're not going to get any more of those because it's undersold. But anyway,
I wonder if this undersold too.
yeah, let's have a look.
I actually don't know. What did this do?
Let's have a search. Prince.
Because again, critically, gangbusters. But
Critically Gambusters. Apparently, sales according to Insider Gaming, the game has accumulated around 300,000 players and estimated 15 million in revenue. So I'm guessing that's an undersell.
15 in revenue.
15 million. Yeah, so 300
Yeah.
300,000 sales. That's probably. I mean, that is actually low. I was expecting at least 1 million.
Yeah. Is that 300,000 sort of concurrent on Steam or some that bullshit that everyone goes on about these days?
Insider Gaming just says 300,000 players. So that's, yeah, it's not even sales. Rumor Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown might have underperformed. I mean, of course it did, because every game underperforms these days because expectations are off the charts. But this one, yeah, it is low. Sold only around 300,000 copies. Good critical reception, but it seems did not fare well commercially. These games do not. I mean, do Metroidvania sell well? Is this not the reason that Nintendo don't rush out the door very often with Metroid games?
Yeah. They've never really sold crazy, have they?
No. Yeah, that's a real shame. Actually, because
because
this one deserves
people are missing out.
Yeah, this deserves we deserve more of these. People are missing out.
Yeah, I don't want Ubisoft to reap the benefits of it as much as I just want it to be viable to make more of them. I want it for selfish reasons because fuck Ubisoft.
Yeah, no, yes, is it, and
I mean, the developers deserve recognition for how
they
great the game is. To be
they
fair,
absolutely do. For me, the frustration comes from that I'm extremely frustrated and exhausted by the video game industry at the moment, and then
well,
something comes
yeah,
along that is good and worth our time and worth attention and worth reward, and it
yeah,
just doesn't do anything. And then I look at it and
yep,
think, well, this is why we keep getting games I don't want to play anymore.
yeah. They feel vindicated in that.
um, I do think that there are several canaries in the coal mine where it comes to Ubisoft as a whole. I think in the last couple of months, I was listening to a podcast. I can't remember which one it is, so sorry. But basically, Ease Gilmo, is he like the boss of the company? He had sent out an email saying basically, you need to all be more productive. You need to we're in a hole right now, and we need you to be as creative as possible to basically dig us out of it and do more. And it just was not it was
You're
not
saying
a
that
good
now after
yeah
about 20 fucking Assassin's Creed games and 40 Far
in
Cries. Okay, mate.
800 years of making Skull and Bones, the quadruple A game.
Yeah,
And yeah,
yeah.
it's,
Yves
it's like
Guillemot's granddad worked on that game.
little bits and pieces. I think it's a shame because, like I say, there's increasingly more and more games coming out these days that I don't want to play, and
Mm-hmm.
this was one that I did want to play, and this is one that I did enjoy. I think it delivered. I think it's an excellent version. I think it's one of best in class.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's just but yeah, you're right. I mean, you look at the upcoming list of stuff we've got planned for the rest of this year on this podcast. You're talking retro basically
Yeah,
for a lot of it. You know, Shovel Knight, Resident Evils, Link to the Past, Silent Hill 2, Halo 2, Metal Gear 3, Shenmue. Games are buzzing to play, but I look at the release schedule for this year and well, for starters, I don't really want to pay 70 quid all the time
yeah.
just to put a
It's
podcast
the
out.
price. It's the price of games, and it's the type of games coming out is a real bummer
Yeah.
for me. It might. I guess we're on a podcast, so we're here to speak about these things, but it actively makes me depressed about the video game industry because, like I say, the games are coming out too expensive. I don't want to pay the price that they're asking for, and I don't want to pay or play the games that they're releasing for the most part. Then they do
Mhm.
something like this, and it's a bummer. It makes me think actually maybe after this podcast, I need to go and buy that sort of Silent Hill 2 like game that came out. It was more like an old school Resi that looks like a Final Fantasy game. What's that called?
Oh, right. Not actually pre-order the Silent Hill 2 remake. I thought you'd
No,
gone
no, no, no,
insane
no,
for
no, no,
him.
no, no, no.
I think another thing as well is like, again, but sort of a, inside baseball bullshit. But we're not gonna get new games bought and completed quickly enough for it to be worth our while podcasting about it.
Because they'll take
Because
300 years to complete.
yeah, and then everybody will have moved on, and they won't care. Probably no one's going to care about this.
No one's probably going to care
but
about
we had a
this.
good time.
Oh, we did have a good time. It was so good. I'm now
Talk
trying
about that crow thing that KDB's always on about.
Yeah, maybe I should go and play that.
Mate, you should go and play fucking Dino Crisis 2.
Yeah, I should actually.
Have fun with that.
Yeah, that crow one because like I think it's something different, but I can't. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe I will go play it. Maybe I won't. It seems fairly short, so maybe I could get through it. Killer Clowns from Outer Space is out this month. Are you have any interest in that?
No.
No.
Is that a multiplayer game?
I don't know actually. I
Isn't
don't
it
know.
like a PvP?
I don't know anything about Killer Clowns.
I
Is
just
it?
know that I've seen a
Is it a
trailer for the
movie?
film and it looks absolutely shite, but it's somehow become a bit of a cult thing, and now they're making a game about it that will do badly.
Do you think it's something wrong with us as well? So, for example, I'm looking through the games that came out in May, and like the System Shock remake slash remaster, whatever it is, came out. Like, I feel like 10 years ago when we were at uni, that was a game we would have jumped on straight away. Yet
Yeah.
we've not even spoken about it. So what is happening, both in the games industry and both with us, that is
I
a
think
game that
that's
is not even on our radar? Because that is one, like, given how much, especially you like Bioshock, that should have been one that at least we had spoken about, I would have thought. X Defiance, another one.
We had a we have like a spreadsheet for our upcoming like podcast games that we're picking or are going to pick from. We have like lists of anniversaries. We have lists for our movie stuff for MAYtroidvania, for Summer of Resi, for Spooktober. We have like all these lists that we pick from, and there used to be in that spreadsheet. There used to be like a new releases that we were thinking about playing, and I just deleted it because we just never picked any on it. Um,
Do you think our do you
or we
think our
picked them later in the
yeah,
day,
do you
so it
think
was
our
like
tastes
it's
have
not worth
changed?
putting on there.
Like, do you and I just play different games now? Is that the thing? Because like, there's a lot of games that I'm interested in playing that I just maybe wouldn't mention. Like
Humanity being one.
Humanity's one. Harold Halibut's another one for me.
Oh, I've got no interest in
Yeah,
that.
well,
Yeah.
exactly. The um,
I think, well, there's partly, I
Senua's
guess, we're just like,
Hellblade 2,
yeah, I'm not that bothered
the
by that
Braid
either.
Anniversary.
No. So
Uh,
I think System Shock, I just remember looking at it and thinking, and maybe I saw some reviews of it and they were just kind of like, it just feels old. And I just thought, well, all right then.
Hades 2, we
That's
haven't even
kind of,
spoken about.
well, that's not fully out yet.
Yeah.
That's still just
Animal
close
Well,
beta.
why
Like,
have we not spoken about that then? We've got no excuse
we
about
did
that.
speak about that for Metroidvania, but it's not May anymore. So I guess we go.
Fucked it.
Yeah. But we'll cover that one year, I think, because that,
When it becomes
yeah.
retro, we'll swoop back around.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, but there's just I think part of me sometimes like now when new games come out, I think we've also had quite a year together of getting back into retro collecting
It's been
physical
fun doing
stuff.
that, yeah.
Yeah. And then I've got so many of those now. I think to myself, like, why would I go and buy a new game when I've just bought like 20 games in a Glasgow gaming market?
Yeah.
Play those, Alex. There's 20, you dickhead. And then I just look at like our list of like older games and stuff. Maybe there is a comfort there of like, I know at some point this year, either, I'm going to play something like Metal Gear 3 that I've not ever finished. So I'm excited to go and finally
me
do
too.
this
Yeah.
thing with a reason to do it now and someone to talk to about it. Or it's something like, Halo 2 or Link to the Past. It's like, oh, Silent Hill 2. Like, oh, I can't wait to, like, it's like with Summer of Resi. I can't wait to go and play all these Resi games again because I've given myself a reason to explore them again and talk about them and think about them in a different way. It's not just like, it doesn't feel like a waste of my time to go back and repeat myself playing all these old games again
I agree.
because we're going to talk about it.
I think
And that's the reason that I want to play. Like having a reason to play it just makes me more excited for older shit.
I agree with you. I think there's the one thing concerns me, and maybe because we're getting older, it doesn't matter so much anymore. And the other thing is like, I just don't want to pay 70 quid for games. So
I don't.
I'm quite
No.
happy to wait these days, and maybe it's just been a
I
bit
will
older.
always.
The thing that does worry me from time to time when I think about this is like we're going back and we're playing games that are all time classics that or games that we've grown up in love with. The way that we're playing games just now in the state of the video game industry as it is, we're not creating the new memories that you and I in 20 years, or even 10 years time, are going to think back and go, oh, remember that game? Do you want to go back and play it? Because we're just not engaging because we don't like the direction that the industry is going at the moment, which is quite depressing.
We're in a bit of a holding period, it feels like, for the current systems that we're on and the current state of games development, where we did have a list of stuff that we were going to look at this year. One of them that I was really buzzing for was Dragon's Dogma 2, and then everything came out and said, no matter where you play this, it runs like shit.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't feel nice to play. So I just thought, well, I'll wait till you sort your shit. Same with like Cyberpunk a few years ago, came out, was dog shit, had a terrible launch.
Point.
I'm not paying full price for games for launch anymore unless they're like guaranteed bona fide, like Nintendo's made it and it's definitely going to run okay. Like even Paper Mario 1000 Year Door, 30 FPS, that's a bit snobby. I will play it, but I'll wait. That's not going to go cheap either.
No.
Something like Stellar Blade, that's supposed to be pretty good, but I'm not paying 70 quid for that.
No,
I'm just not taking a punt on it.
That is such a good.
It's just the way.
Yeah.
Partly a state of the way the world is at this point as well. But yeah, so many games I've been excited for just keep getting all these caveats to them. Maybe I'm too obsessed with Digital Foundry or going on like seeing what people say on Reddit versus what the reviews say, because the reviews are obviously most of the time are going to be either paid
What
for or by an outlet that I don't care about anyway.
what was it?
Like, I
You
don't
sent
care
me a
what
you
page
sent me
it is.
oh, it was for Astrobot. You sent me a trailer for Astrobot, or no, you didn't. You told me to
Oh
go
yeah,
look at it, and I went and looked at it. And my first thought was negative. And I do genuinely miss the days when I'm just excited about video games.
yeah. Because I said like, oh, the industry has soured you because
Yeah,
this
I
is
just
like,
looked
look
at
at
it
this
and it's like,
delightful, happy trailer, and you're like, yeah, but it's probably going to not fill its way through. Well, I think you
yeah.
said that it's not
Well,
going to
what
be
I
able to
liked about
fill
Astrobot
a.
is it was short, snappy, got in, got
Yeah,
out before you got bored of it. And now I'm like, and now they're like, oh yeah, we've made it like 800 times bigger. I'm like, I didn't want you to make 100 times bigger. I just want you to make more of the little like another.
that just That just looks to me like it could be a 3D platformer that we actually have fun with,
Yeah,
because we're
hopefully.
we've got a hankering for 3D platformers that Penny, whatever the fuck it was, yo-yo twat, that did not fill that hole because it just became quite. It was just not finished.
Yeah, it just
It
didn't
was unfinished
wasn't the
and
one. No,
no.
I do agree with you. It's just when you were saying you were in a
I'm
holding
trying to
pattern,
think what I care about coming out this year.
you were talking about being in a holding pattern, and it
Mm,
is again massively cynical, but I almost feel like I'm in a holding pattern because I think like there's some sort of a crash coming where the industry needs to reset, and I just
yeah.
want the game industry to get on and crash so that it can sort of reset and be smaller again, because these massive like spiraling budget games aren't games I want to play. They aren't
Mm,
fun. They're launching broken, and they're using a system that is effectively try to pick at my brain and exploit me like a gambling addict rather than actually giving me something that's fun to
yeah.
engage in. I just want the
Yeah.
game to reset a little bit, the games industry to reset a little bit. Give me games that look worse. I don't care. Make them run better, make them launch and work, and go back to making interesting titles. But maybe these things, maybe I'm hanking. Maybe this is just old man yelling at the wind. Maybe this is gone. Like, is Fable going to come out and completely flop because people don't play single player games anymore? Probably. Probably.
Mm. But then, we're about to enter the new whatever the new E3 landscape is, aren't we? We're about to hit that again. The Xbox showcase is coming up in a couple of days at time of recording.
Yeah, it's just hard to do to
If they
look at.
say Gear 6, you and I might be like, well, there you
Maybe.
go. There's a nail.
Maybe.
Well, we've got it day one for free anyway. So
I'm just not sure what, like, again, like existentially about the games industry, I'm not sure what Microsoft want to be anymore. I think they want to be a publisher the more I look at it.
yeah,
So, and now, like, if they just want to be a publisher, how much sense does Game Pass actually make long term? Probably not
more.
much. How do you think?
Well,
Because
if
if,
they're only publishing games on it, they don't have to even make any effort to develop anything that's on that platform. They just
but
pay
what
someone
if
to
they
do
got
it
like
for them.
12 million subscribers and the subscribers have leveled out and they're not increasing? I think they need
Mm,
way more than that to make it a viable going concern. I don't know. I don't know. Especially if you want them to be churning out games like Gears and Fallouts and Skyrims or Elder Scrolls
Yeah, I
and
see.
Call of
Bethesda
Duties.
obviously shitting their pants now, aren't they? That they haven't been. They've released this incredible TV show and don't have a Fallout game to back it up,
Yeah.
or anywhere near in the future. I did see something funny earlier on where I saw a rumor today that Xbox is going to announce a handheld. And some dickhead on Reddit was like, "Oh, great, a handheld to play all those exclusives we don't have." And some guy was like, "You do realize you don't have to just play exclusives on your console. You can play like everything else as well. Like you don't have to like not play Call of Duty just because or whatever." That's not a good example, but yeah,
This is
really, yeah, we're in a weird.
Selfish David. 6 months or 12 months ago, a handheld would have probably made me so happy. But they've just sort of taken slightly too long for it, and I've now got my Steam Deck.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I do feel like I don't know. I don't know how I feel about games just now, and I don't know how I feel about what platform I want to play games on anymore. I'm just, yeah, a bit upset by the whole games industry at the moment. Bit worn
I
out
think
by
that's
it.
why this. I think that's why this space and this venture and the way that we're approaching playing games is making us happy, because we're just playing things that give us like nostalgia,
Yeah.
things that still like hold up to this day, things that we can talk about with each other. That's it's separated from this wider
Yeah.
moany gaming industry and discourse bullshit. It's just like we just went and we're gonna probably go next and play fucking Racing Lagoon or something, or
Yeah.
Shovel Knight. Like, we're just gonna have good fun with old stuff that we've not really experienced. So why is it bad? We've never not liked old games. They're
No,
new to us, so
you're right.
and
And
they're from an era that can't get spoiled.
I'm
Just done.
eternally thankful that we do this podcast because, like, I don't want to be hyperbolic because I know I tend to be, but like, I genuinely think like if we hadn't been doing this podcast, I would still be a gamer and still be playing games, but I've no idea what I would have played this year. No idea. So it's at least
Absolutely, yeah.
it's keeping me engaged in the industry while the industry goes and sorts itself out.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd probably be off reading, or I'd be, I don't know, going to do something else. Yeah, watching TV, because I just can't be. I look at the games, I look what's coming out, and I just think, nah, you're all right.
I've looked through the list for games coming out 2024, and barely anything on there's tickling
Such
me.
a shame. I hope we can find a way to be enthusiastic about the games industry again. I just don't see how at the moment. The other thing I wrote down is to come back to, and this is to drag us back onto Prince of Persia before we wrap up.
Which is excellent.
I wrote down fisherman. Is the fisherman, so when you go through the explodey ship area, when you get to the end of the pier, you encounter a fisherman that looks very much like a young version of the old man. Is that the old man?
I think it is now you said that.
Must be, because I saw him. I was like, same googly eyes, same nose, same chin. You've just got brown hair instead of grey.
Good spot. It'd be the same as old Varum and his younger version, isn't it?
I think so. And they also
Nice.
Sargon when you're encountering different versions of yourself to an extent. Yeah, it just hit me when I saw that. Is there anything else, Alex? I think we've fairly covered.
We've covered the game and we've taken down the industry that it came from. So I think we're done.
I think we're done.
Yeah.
I enjoyed
It's
this
a
podcast.
fantastic game.
Yeah. I think, genuinely, I would love to, in fact, I might text you about it tomorrow and have a little think about it. Make a top 5 David Metroidvanias of all time, because I think this is on the list. I need to.
It's definitely on my list.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Castlevania Symphony of the Night is one that really spoke to me. Very much enjoyed Bloodstained, but it was weird. It was a weird ass game. I loved, despite it felt sort of artistically incoherent.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of other ones. I need to, like, Guacamelee we've spoken about. I was a big fan of. But yeah, I've not sort of dabbled in many out with this podcast, so I think it's definitely on my top 5.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to have a think and see where it sits.
Let me tell you a Metroidvania game that I have never been able to get on with, and I don't even get on with how it looks. That I think is what a lot of people like about it, and that's Hollow Knight. Like, I just don't get it.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, because that's got
It has never
Alex
clicked with me.
Is there not a bit of a soul slant to that as well?
Yeah,
which is another Alex sort of like. If that makes sense.
I don't know why it's never worked for me, but it just hasn't. Strange. Blasphemous was good.
Blasphemous
There's lots
is
of
one
Metroid
that I want,
games that are good. Alien. If only you could find an easy way to play that Aliens Infestation that's on DS, because that game fucking like slaps.
Oh, does it?
It's just very expensive, and you'd have to buy a 3DS.
There's another one that I want. Another one I want to play but haven't is Axiom Verge 1 or 2, either or.
Yeah, I bounced off Axiom Verge twice.
Oh, did you?
And
then
it's just not as good as Metroid.
Well, next up we had a Castlevania game,
Aria of Sorrow.
But
yeah,
I assume because it's no longer May, are we just bouncing straight on to the next one?
Yeah, we'll circle back to that maybe next year.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully they'll have brought out the DS collection by then, because those games are all better.
So, Alex, you want to give the listeners a wee bit of tell them about what mad shit we're about to play next, because this is something mental.
Well, yes, but this is at the moment, let's say this is definitely a tentative. I think we're definitely going to do Shovel Knight for its anniversary on the 26th of June, because that's well, it's brilliant for a start, but it's not going to take up a crazy amount of time.
Is it not?
But
Is it
what we
okay?
are,
So we don't have to like start on it right away to get through it.
no, and it's
Okay.
26th of June, so we've got till the end of the month to
Okay.
get that done. And you've got it on Steam Deck anyway, haven't you now? So
Yes.
I think, have you, or did we? Yeah.
Oh no, I haven't bought it yet, but that's where I'll get it.
Oh, okay.
Definitely, because I'll be
Yeah.
able to play in bed at night.
But what we are going to do
See,
for
Xbox,
its,
you missed out with your fucking handheld 6 months too late.
yeah, it's not going to happen. They're not going to make a hat. Whoever said that is just having a right laugh.
Do you know what? Realistically, I think what they're going to do is they're going to Steam. What's it? No, I was going to say Steam Deck, but you remember when Steam started releasing like consoles, or they basically release the Xbox OS and allow independent manufacturers to make things, and then I think that's how we'll get an Xbox handheld. Personally,
Yeah, they keep talking about Xbox Anywhere and stuff like that, don't they? Or everywhere or whatever. Yeah,
I mean, if you
potentially
had a tablet and a good internet connection, you've already got your handheld, right?
Well, for Xbox, yeah. Yeah, I just don't. So don't have that internet part.
Anyway,
which is why if they were to bring out like the Sony version and have like a streaming handheld, then that's useless to me anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, so for its 25th anniversary, this was a game that cropped up maybe last year or the year before because it finally got an English translation because it never originally came out of Japan. But it's Square, I think it's just Square or Squaresoft's Racing Lagoon, which is a JRPG racing game. The the one hurdle we may have, other than the fact that I have watched the opening cutscene, and oh boy, is this story going to be interesting?
It's going to be a ride.
Is apparently I think the game is supposed to be fucking incredibly hard,
Right,
unless you use there's like a part of the download that you'll get of the ISO comes with like an easy mode, and it gives you like a memory card save where you get all the end game cars stuff. So I think I would swear wherever I read it, it was recommended to just use that because otherwise the game is just really hard. I am tempted to try it by myself first, but yeah, a PS1 racing JRPG might not make it to pod because it could just be dog shit and we hate it and then we won't play it. But
so next
we're both excited at this point.
Yeah, so we're either going to pop up with Racing Lagoon or probably a special edition while we get on with.
Yeah, if not, we'll do the SNES. We'll finish off the SNES roulette, but that will be if we do play it and pod about it. That SNES roulette's going to come July before we kick off the Resi season.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
I think.
So watch this space, I suppose.
Yeah.
So, I guess that brings us to the end of another episode of the Winners You podcast. If you liked what you heard, and even if you didn't, why not give our numbers a bump by subscribing to our podcast on your podcast feed of choice? Or if you prefer to consume your podcast in a visual format, you can head on over to YouTube, which I need to actually upload, and search for A Winner Is You podcast, where you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. If the podcast isn't enough for you, you can also follow us on the website formerly known as Twitter, at Winner Is You Pod, and you can even send us an email to tell us how wrong we are about our game and movie opinions by writing to winnersupod@gmail.com. Alex and I also have not Twitter, at Super Smiley, I think I am, 25 maybe, and at Super Thrillix, and we have TikTok, so head on over there and search a Winners You Pod if you so desire. Any housekeeping, Alex, or are we getting out of here? What's your next topic on the Video Game Hall of Fame?
Handheld games.
Oh, good one. Have you got your? Is it a secret? Have you got your?
I haven't figured out my choice yet. It's quite difficult. There was way more to choose from than I thought.
For handheld games, I feel like for you, there's a lot going on there, right?
Yeah,
or are there more stipulations here? Because I feel you're a...
No, it's basically just not Switch. So at the moment, I've got Phoenix Wright, Professor Layton, Zelda Minish Cap, Mario Land 2, Danganronpa, and it feels like
someone's surely picking Pokemon, because that is.
Yeah, I've got no interest in picking that. We've already had Pokemon lose a poll anyway, I think.
Okay, so it's out.
I don't want to pick Tetris because it's boring. but would win.
It's Tetris, but
And then
I
am I
agree
missing?
with
Am I
you.
missing some like obvious
It's
ones?
boring, but it's the right answer.
Yeah, probably.
Um,
I need to probably look through it. I can't. I feel like I'm missing some like absolute monster
it
handheld games
must
in my
be,
thought
especially
process.
because you more than
I don't
me.
like Link's Awakening. I don't really like a lot of Game Boy games, like original Game Boy anymore. GBA, like most of the best games on that.
Googling it is cheating because it's whipping out loads of Switch games.
Yeah, which we're not including because what's the point? There's too many at that point.
Hey, there's one on our. I'm sure we've got this on our SNES list. Kirby's Dream Land keeps popping up. It's popping up here.
Oh, that's one of the few that I've played of SNES Roulette, Kirby's Dream Land 3. Absolutely gorgeous video game
Is
that is
it?
so babyish. Like, oh my god, it's just so slow and easy.
That's
And I
another
played a
game
bit.
I need to get to at some point. That Kirby Switch game, because you like that, did you not?
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's great fun. But the yeah, I also played that Battletoads game, and fucking that's dog shit. That is really bad.
Can you just pick
Spoiler.
Can you pick
Oh,
Chrono Trigger? And
Chrono.
just be done with that since
Yeah, that's already lost the fucking JRPG
Is it a
poll as well.
Metroid game that you like?
Chrono Trigger's got a anniversary next year, so if you want to actually play and finish that,
yeah, I think I do.
I think we have to do that.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying Wario Land 2 and 3, which is that the one we liked?
We played Wario Land 1.
Yeah, I liked that one we played. Golden Sun, someone's saying. Metroid Zero Mission.
Oh, GBA.
Kirby games.
Yeah.
Minish Cap. Yeah, I think you Advance Wars. Yeah, I think you've got.
Advance Wars. Yeah, I forgot about that.
You've got a lot of these, to be honest.
But I've already nominated Advance Wars as well. That didn't win then.
That's tough. Once it's been nominated, it's out. You've got to really pick your
I think I
moment.
probably am going to go
then.
Phoenix Wright, you know.
Yeah.
Get the weebs on board.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I've enjoyed handheld consoles along the years. But
you have, and it's me that hasn't.
But when I was thinking about it, I was just like, what? Like, what are the massive big hitters that are actually going to win as well for a start?
Yeah, it's try to think what's going to win. Yeah. Although you just need to,
especially if somebody's picking Tetris, so maybe I don't need to worry about that anymore.
Find the Reddit and then win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Dr. Mario, Pokemon, yeah, Kirby's Dream Land 2, Kirby's Pinball. Yeah.
Fucking Kirby's Pinball, really?
Castlevania, Age of Sorrow.
What was that? Aria or Sorrow?
Is it Aria? So they've got Castlevania AOS, Castlevania COTM, Castlevania HOD. Mega Man 03. Metroid Fusion.
Yeah, those Castlevanias are, yeah, they're a potential.
Fire Emblem.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, so that's the housekeeping. That's the housekeeping.
And on that bombshell, I've been David, he has been Alex, and we have been the Winners You, and I'm out.
Keep gaming, my sweet prince of Persia.
That podcast went places.
Yeah.
POP David. Desktop save and then stop recording.